As soon as Jack spoke, a collective shiver ran through everyone in the hall, as they all turned to see him simultaneously. "Rachel?" Jack addressed her directly, and Rachel responded with fear, barely looking up. "I want you to apologize to Liv so I believe it," Jack ordered. "I'm sorry, Liv. I apologize again." Rachel turned to Olivia, knowing that this wasn't the end of it. Olivia looked at Jack and firmly stated, "Grandfather, that's not enough." Jack gazed back at Olivia, inquiring, "What do you want?" "I want Rachel and Monica to visit my mother's place and apologize with gifts." Olivia raised her chin confidently. Today, she aimed to make Rachel bow before Victoria as much as possible. Bruno's expression changed upon hearing this request. He knew how much Rachel despised Victoria. This demand was excessive. Jack narrowed his eyes slightly and said, "Okay." He knew what Rachel had tried to do to Olivia once by hiring a hitman, and he thought this was a fitting punishment. He found it slightly amusing. Reading his thoughts, Olivia smiled slightly. Rachel's face turned pale upon hearing the agreement. She couldn't believe she was being asked to apologize to Victoria. She was the victor in the situation because she had married Michael. Why should she bow down to Victoria now? "Accompany Rachel and Monica to Victoria's. You will all go together," Jack instructed Michael. "Okay." Michael nodded in agreement, though he was conflicted. It was his duty to support Rachel in this matter, but God, it was so confusing. It always made him feel so strange to see Victoria. He had so many old feelings. Rachel looked at Michael with a dazed expression, not wanting to go. She truly didn't want to apologize. "Richard Koss, go out and get some gifts for Victoria," Michael told the butler. "Yes." Richard Koss acknowledged and left to carry out the tasks given to him by his boss. Michael's words shattered all of Rachel's fantasies. She looked at him blankly. She had sacrificed so much for him, giving him her honor, dignity, and everything else. Finally, with great effort, she managed to say only, "Well, I should probably go and get ready then, shouldn't I?" Seeing Rachel's agreement, Bruno's heart ached for her. Rachel had changed so much for Michael. She was willing to do anything for him. Bruno felt a tinge of jealousy, seeing how devoted she was to his brother. "Goodbye," Olivia mocked and waved her hand. She knew that even if she didn't accompany Michael, Rachel's apology would be sincere and humble under his watch, and that was enough. Monica bit her lower lip, staring at Olivia with hatred. She wished she could rush forward and silence this woman. Her eyes burned with animosity as she glared at Olivia. She clenched her teeth tightly, knowing that Olivia couldn't be so complacent. She must have a plan. If she couldn't think of one, someone else surely would. Beatrix, she thought. Beatrix had been foiled last time, but this time, maybe she could come up with something. Monica's mind fixated on that name. Beatrix would undoubtedly help her. Olivia was responsible for the severe humiliation Beatrix's sister Monica had endured before, during the Cooper family's event. Beatrix would surely want to avenge her sister. Having these thoughts, Monica also began to devise her plan. Tonight, she would contact Beatrix. She couldn't afford to wait any longer. Seeing Michael, Rachel, and Monica leave, Olivia's eyes gleamed with cunning. Her performance had been nearly perfect, and now she needed to recall the events of her previous life, line them up, and calculate the best starting point for her actions. Olivia looked at Jack and Bruno. "Grandfather, Uncle Bruno, I'm going back to my room." "All right," Jack replied, his attention shifting away from her. After Olivia ascended the stairs, Bruno looked at Jack and remarked, "Dad, your decision today seemed a bit biased." "Is that so?" Jack smiled at Bruno. "I understand Rachel's true nature better than you do. From the beginning, I knew she and her daughter were causing trouble, but I didn't bother with it." Bruno choked on his words and continued, "Dad, you seem to care about Liv quite a bit." Jack's gaze turned deep as he said, "Olivia, she must remain in the Johnson family." "Dad," Bruno was taken aback. Do you still intend to? Yes. Jack looked at him resolutely. In 8 years, you need to plan carefully during this time. Build a solid foundation in London. Dad, Europe's situation is uncertain now. Bruno frowned. Not only are the 4 major European families reshuffling, but even the Jones family, Franco Alva's, and the previously disinterested other families are having issues. Bruno spoke enigmatically, so anyone else who was listening wouldn't know what was going on. I'm aware, Jack said firmly. This reshuffle will have a significant impact on the Johnson family, but I'm prepared. We must safeguard the foundation of the Johnson family. The real transformation will occur in 8 years. Bruno nodded, understanding that the last major upheaval among the 4 families occurred 17 years ago. It caused a tremendous commotion throughout the country, leading to the demise of the Victoria family, the Parks in New York City, and some others. Many companies collapsed, and countless people lost their livelihoods, and even their lives. Edward, stick with your uncle. Jack turned to Edward, who had been silent. Don't follow your mother and sister. Those 2 may only drag you down. I understand, Edward responded calmly, showing respect for Jack. Jack got up, clearing his throat. You all can chat. I need to return to my room. Dad, I'll support you. Bruno immediately approached, exchanging a glance with Edward. Grandpa, take care. Edward and Bruno supported Jack as they bid him farewell. 2 hours later, Michael and Rachel returned. Monica wore an expressionless face, her mind occupied with thoughts of how to secretly contact Beatrix. Meanwhile, Rachel was like a defeated little child, unable to believe that after 17 years of glory and dignity, she would now bow her head to Victoria. This humiliation had shattered the pride she had held for so long. At that moment, Olivia happened to descend the stairs to get a drink. Upon seeing the trio sitting on the sofa, she smiled and casually said, Oh, you're back? Her voice grated on Rachel's nerves, and her hatred for Olivia deepened. She swore to herself that she would never forgive her. Late at night, unlike the clear weather earlier in the day, dark clouds blanketed the sky and blocked out the moon and stars, creating an enormous black hole that devoured all the light in the sky. Rachel stood before Bruno's door, hesitating for a long moment before finally knocking 3 times. Tonight, she chose a relatively conservative set of pajamas, so she didn't tempt him. The door opened, revealing Bruno, who looked like he had just showered. His upper body was bare, revealing his sculpted chest, and the room's heater kept it warm. He still had water droplets in his hair, and a hand towel slung over his shoulder. When he saw Rachel, his eyes lit up, and he pulled her into the room, pressing her against the wall. Rachel, what is your plan at the Leadham's banquet? Rachel held Bruno's hand on her waist, feeling its heat even through her pajamas, which made her blush. I miss you so much. Bruno buried his head in Rachel's neck. Today's events had left him furious and distressed. He couldn't bear the thought of Michael being with Rachel. She was his fiancée once upon a time, and Bruno had always been the most outstanding among his peers. Why didn't she end up with him? Why did things turn out this way? Leaving his hometown and living with his lies and deceptions all these years among fellow chefs all day long. What did all his talent and excellence bring him but pain? A complex series of bundled emotions flashed through Rachel's eyes. Her hands trembled as she looked at Bruno. Help me, she whispered. I will help you, Bruno assured her, while also asking for what he desired. But first, give yourself to me. It was still for a moment as Rachel considered her next move. Biting her lower lip, Rachel slowly released her hold on Bruno's hand, accepting the price she had to pay for her and Monica to keep Michael by their side forever. Bruno sensed Rachel's tension but scoffed. It's not the first time. Why are you nervous? With that, he held her waist and led her toward the bed. However, Rachel kept her eyes tightly shut, oblivious to the desire and pity in Bruno's gaze. He loved her. As Bruno kissed her neck, Rachel stopped him, saying, You cannot kiss here. Hmm? Bruno was confused. Rachel turned her head, explaining, Clothes can't cover it for you to leave a mark. He will see it. Bruno's expression changed as he understood her concern, his eyes filling with the craziest thirst for revenge. Many rooms away, down a different corridor, Monica sat in her room as she anxiously waited for a reply on her cell phone. Okay, Beatrix finally typed. Upon receiving Beatrix's response, Monica sighed with relief and pretended to care as she asked, How is your sister doing? I was busy with final exams and couldn't check on her. Monica and Melanie used to be inseparable, but ever since Olivia came into their lives, Melanie seemed afraid to come over. It was just yet another reason Olivia was terrible. She's fine, Beatrix replied expressionlessly, then paused, asking, And what about your mom? How's she? Don't tell my mother, Monica interrupted. I don't want her to know about this. Cousin Beatrix, will you keep this a secret from me? From my mom? Of course. A flash of cunning flashed in Beatrix's eyes. A secret was even better than a favor. She loved when people were indebted to her, and if she knew someone's secrets, it meant she held power over them. Thank you, Monica added. When do you think we should strike? Better to choose a significant day, Beatrix suggested. The day of Amy Leadham's dad's birthday. You guys are going, aren't you? Amy's dad was the CEO of his family's corporation, so all the prominent families would be there. Yep, Monica nodded, getting excited. Good. Let's do it then. Since we're not in your dad's mansion, we can do whatever we want. You and Melanie have a good relationship with Amy Leadham. It won't be hard to get her help. All right, let's do it that way. Beatrix, let me know when you come up with a good plan, Monica said with a smile. Sure, I will, Beatrix replied before they exchanged a few more pleasantries and hung up. After the call, Beatrix smirked with disdain. These days, Beatrix's father, Brett Cooper, realized the foolishness of his decisions that night at his father's banquet. Since the banquet, the entire Cooper family's business had suffered after he tried to humiliate his older brother Ryan, and rumors spread like wildfire. Though no one explicitly mentioned it, there was contempt everywhere. People were talking about how disreputable the family was. Brett panicked and urged Beatrix to find a way to salvage the situation. Now, an opportunity presented itself. Monica called for help, and Beatrix's mind schemed. Covering up a scandal was simple. All they needed was a bigger one. Beatrix slightly closed the book she had been reading. She would likely finish it in the next couple of days. After putting it away, she took a deep breath, closed her eyes, and rested against the rattan rocking chair covered in thick sheepskin. The fire in the fireplace crackled peacefully in the middle of the night, accompanied by its warm glow. The next day, the hazy sky persisted. During breakfast back at the Johnson mansion, everyone ate in silence, and no one initiated a conversation. Olivia sipped her milk and observed everyone. When she noticed Bruno and Rachel reaching for their breakfast muffins simultaneously, their fingers touched. Awkwardly, Rachel smiled at Bruno, and Olivia sensed something fishy. She looked at their thoughts and watched as they both thought, "Don't let on," and then immediately both looked away and thought about other thoughts. Suspicious, Olivia thought. With a disdainful look, Olivia silently put down her milk cup. The meal was no longer appetizing. Around 10 o'clock, as Monica was about to pester Bruno to learn cooking, a distinguished guest arrived at the Johnson mansion. Seeing the young man in a white suit and his female assistant sitting on the sofa, Olivia was puzzled. The female assistant stood up and greeted Olivia with a smile. "Hello, you must be Miss Johnson, right?" "Yes," Olivia observed the female assistant before turning her attention to the young man and asking, "Who are you?" In both her past and present lives, she didn't recall ever seeing this person before. Olivia observed the two individuals in front of her with caution and care, hesitantly eyeing them, hoping maybe they would seem familiar at some point. It was unsettling to encounter someone she'd never seen in her last life. The female assistant appeared to be around 24 years old, with short, dark coffee-dyed hair, fair skin, and a fashionable and beautiful, yet professional dress. Her intelligent and capable demeanor shone through her professional smile. The young man on the sofa seemed to be about 22 years old, with short, dark hair, a slender and healthy wheat-colored complexion, and deep facial features. His bushy eyebrows and dark eyes exuded a calm and cool aura, making him seem aloof at first glance. "Miss Johnson, I know we're strangers, though I hope you will treat me with respect, despite what I am about to tell you," the female assistant said as she placed a small suitcase on the table. She opened it and turned to Olivia. Inside the suitcase were 12 trapezoidal gold bricks, each weighing about 4 ounces. Olivia estimated the value, and her surprise was evident. Olivia glanced from the gold to the man in the white suit, trying to figure out who he was. Could he be some Noave rich man trying to show off his riches with literal gold bricks? No, what would he be doing here with me? Olivia wondered. She sized him up again, trying to understand his intentions. Monica stared jealous at the box, wondering why it was given to Olivia when it contained so much gold. "This is just a small token of goodwill from my boss. I hope you accept it," the female assistant said with an unwavering smile, implying that only Olivia had the right to decide. I don't understand," Olivia replied with a smile, confused. "You deserve it," the man finally spoke, his voice low yet surprisingly pleasant to hear. "I still don't understand what you mean," Olivia said vaguely. "We have never met before." The female assistant explained, "My boss's dog, Betty, was lost a few months ago when he brought her to New York City with him. He heard that Miss Johnson adopted and took good care of her." Olivia frowned. "Are you looking for Polly?" "She's named Betty, actually," the man corrected her, clearly disliking the name change. "Didn't Chris give that dog to my sister? What's wrong with it?" Monica asked, puzzled. "This must be a misunderstanding," Olivia said, trying to downplay the situation. "If there's nothing else, I'll go back to my room to study." "Please, wait a moment," the female assistant said, taking out a folder from her briefcase and presenting some photos. The photos showed Olivia with Polly near the family mansion and playing with it in Central Park. "What is this? You secretly took pictures of me?" Olivia frowned, feeling violated. The man corrected her. "I've had people looking for Betty high and low. I gave them instructions to take her photo if they found her." Olivia shivered, realizing that Polly was much smarter and more obedient than other huskies. It made sense that maybe she belonged to someone important before her. "We have prepared Betty's birth certificate and DNA test reports. These are all photocopies, but hold legal validity. Miss Johnson, do you need to check them?" the female assistant asked. Seeing the documents, Olivia's bad feelings intensified. "What do you want?" "I want to see Betty now," the man said coldly. Olivia clenched her fists, not wanting this person to see Polly, as she knew he was indeed her owner. She knew in her heart he was telling the truth. "Okay, fine," she finally relented. When she brought Polly out of the bedroom to the living room, she rubbed against her leg, begging her to go out to play. Olivia squatted down, trying to appear happy, but her face showed worry and unease. She wrapped her bracelet around Polly's neck, and it seemed to understand her mood, comforting her with a whimper. "Polly," Olivia sighed deeply, bringing it to the living room. The man's eyes lit up as he saw Polly. "Betty!" Polly tilted its head and looked at her old owner. With a signal from the man, Polly straightened her body and looked directly at him. "You go," the man said with a flick of his fingers, looking provocatively at Olivia. Olivia raised her chin and shouted, "Polly, come back!" Upon hearing this, Polly ran back to Olivia's side. "Sit," Olivia commanded. Polly immediately sat down beside Olivia's feet. Seeing this, Olivia provocatively looked at the man, showing that she was just as capable of giving commands. The man's displeasure was evident as he watched his beloved dog being called away. "Now you've seen Polly," Olivia stated firmly. "You can leave now." "It's Betty," the man corrected, his voice filled with anger. "What kind of name is Polly?" "You can leave now," Olivia repeated, not wanting to entertain them any longer. "Miss Johnson," the female assistant smiled, "we came to invite you to return Betty." "Excuse me?" Olivia's heart skipped a beat, even though she had expected such a request. Hearing it aloud was still unbearable. "We won't take Betty without giving you ample compensation, you understand, because we recognize how well you've taken care of her and looked after her since she got lost. We want to thank you," the female assistant continued. "My boss, Mr. Wyatt Newman here, offered a reward of $50,000 to find Betty, and since you found it, that reward belongs to you. Are you satisfied with this solution?" $50,000? Monica's eyes widened. "Are you kidding me? What the hell? It's just a dog." Olivia's expression turned serious. "I'm sorry, I can't. I picked up Polly when she was injured and hurt, and in fear for her life from a pack of other dogs. I saved her, and I have officially adopted her. She's mine, and I won't give her to anyone." "Add another $10,000, the man Wyatt Newman demanded, as a fee for taking care of Betty during this time. Olivia could see by looking into the man's mind that money was everything to him. He had a lot of it, and he had gotten far understanding that people could be bought and sold. But not Olivia. She had lived without money before, so she knew that certain things could never be purchased, like love, which she felt very deeply for Polly. She eyed Wyatt's assistant, reading her thoughts too. The woman too was focused on money. "Maybe Miss Johnson won't accept our cash reward," the assistant thought, "because this house is clearly very nice, and she already has wealth. It's evident that opulence surrounds us," she thought, admiring the grand entryway of the colossal New England mansion. The soaring ceilings adorned with intricate crown moldings and crystal chandeliers exuded an air of elegance, while the marble floors gleamed beneath their feet. A grand staircase with ornate handrails and plush carpeting beckoned visitors to explore the upper levels of the magnificent estate. As she peered further into the front sitting room, the richness of the mansion's decor continued to impress her. Plush, velvet upholstery graced the lavish sofas, complemented by intricately carved wooden coffee tables and exquisite Persian rugs underfoot. The walls were adorned with masterful oil paintings and gilded mirrors, reflecting the warm glow of the crystal sconces. A grand piano nestled in one corner is a testament to the home's appreciation for the arts and refined taste. The room's expansive windows overlook the sprawling, manicured gardens outside, which carefully sculpted hedges and blooming flowers added to the estate's grandeur. A sense of tranquility and prosperity filled the air, making it clear to the assistant that Olivia's wealth was already firmly established, rendering Wyatt's cash reward insignificant. "Maybe we'll have to find something else to persuade Olivia," the assistant thought. She narrowed her eyes, looking around, as if formulating a new plan to convince, or coerce, Olivia to give up the dog. "I told you, you can leave now." Olivia's eyes turned cold, her attachment to Polly unwavering. "Miss Johnson, let's negotiate the price," the female assistant suggested with a professional smile. "Even if you add another $200,000, $2 million, or $20 million, I won't agree to it," Olivia stated firmly, refusing to part with Polly. "I hope there are no obstacles in your communication. Listen up." Olivia paused and said, "I will not give Polly to anyone. I saved her when you didn't even know where she was." The female assistant looked troubled and glanced at Wyatt, awaiting his decision. "Miss Johnson," Wyatt stood up, "how exactly are you unwilling to return Betty to me?" "She's mine," Olivia said firmly. "There's no such thing as returning her. If you continue to be stubborn, we'll see you in court," the female assistant warned. "Take your things and leave my home." Olivia's tone was cold. After they left, Olivia noticed the box of gold bricks still on the coffee table. Despite her unwillingness, she ran outside behind Wyatt. "Have you thought it through, Miss Johnson?" Wyatt turned around as soon as she ran out onto the steps behind him. His voice was cold with a hint of ridicule. "I knew you could be bought," he thought. Olivia, hearing Wyatt's thoughts, puffed her chest up. "You forgot to take away your gold bricks." "That was a gift for you. There's no reason to take it back," Wyatt replied before turning and getting into his car. Once Wyatt drove off, Michael came outside and found his daughter standing on the front steps of the house. "Liv, what happened?" Michael asked, frowning. He was confused about the ownership of Polly and exactly how she came into Olivia's possession. "That guy came here trying to take my dog is what happened," Olivia said, feeling irritated. She walked towards the box of gold bricks and closed it. Monica sneered as she saw Olivia's actions. She thought it was clear Olivia had stolen a wealthy man's dog and was now trying to get money out of Polly. "Didn't you say Chris gave you Polly?" Rachel asked as soon as Olivia was back in the house. She couldn't sit still any longer. "I said it was Chris who gave her to me, yes. Did you think that a stray dog would have been so well behaved? Even if Polly belonged to that man, he didn't keep a very good eye on her. Or maybe he was mean to her because she ran away. And you saw it just now. She didn't want to go back to him. She loves me, and she knows I'll take care of her." Olivia looked at Rachel before taking the gold bricks and addressing Michael. "Dad, I'm going back to my room." "Okay," Michael nodded. He could see his daughter was rattled and exhausted and didn't want to make her feel any worse. Olivia said to Polly, "Let's go." And the two of them jogged upstairs with the dog following close behind Olivia. In the living room, Rachel and Monica exchanged fierce glances. They were determined not to let Olivia get away with this strange event without any repercussions. Had she lied about how she came into possession of Polly? If so, they would find out and expose her. In her room, Olivia sat beside the bed deep in thought, contemplating the strange turn of events that had occurred that day. Her beloved Polly had comforted her by rubbing against her legs. However, Olivia's heart was in turmoil, as only 3 days remained until the Leadham family's banquet, a battle she had been preparing for. Yet now this unexpected situation had arisen, and she felt as if a heavy rock were pressing down on her chest, making it difficult to catch her breath. Opening the box containing the gold bricks from Wyatt Newman, Olivia carefully examined them, wondering if they could help her find a lawyer capable of winning custody of Polly. She decided to call Chris's right-hand man, Sven, for advice. "Sven, do you know any reliable lawyers?" Olivia asked, willing to pay a higher price for competence. Sven, who had just woken up and was still a bit groggy, replied, "The Anderson family's law firm in New York City has a good reputation." Olivia's face showed disdain at the mention of Haley Anderson's family. "I prefer someone not associated with the Anderson family." Haley was one of Monica's little minions, and Olivia didn't want to deal with one of them. Before responding, Sven jokingly teased, "What'd you do, kill someone and need to get away with it?" "No, nothing like that." Olivia laughed softly, but then explained Polly's situation to Sven. "Oh, that's quite a difficult matter," Sven remarked. "They told me they would arrange a lawyer to sue for custody of her," Olivia continued. "The original owner seems to have a strong background." As Olivia mentioned the box of gold bricks, Sven's eyes widened. "This is a significant sum. Where did he get this expensive gift?" Olivia replied, "He said his name was Wyatt Newman." The name suddenly triggered a vague memory, but Olivia couldn't recall it fully. Did she know Wyatt after all? "Wyatt?" Sven's tone changed, becoming serious. "Is that what you said his name was?" "Wyatt Newman, yes," Olivia repeated nervously. "Does he have a powerful background?" Sven then dropped a bombshell. "Have you heard of Zeus, the #1 diamond company in the world?" Olivia was familiar with the brand and its CEO. "Yeah, I vaguely remember hearing the name of the head of that company. My father knows him. It's Todd Newman, right?" "That's correct," Sven confirmed. "Wyatt, is Todd Newman's only son. Olivia was taken aback. That flirtatious Nuave rich man? Yes, that's him, Sven replied. Olivia clenched her fists, realizing how many resources Wyatt had to try to fight her for Polly. Even if that's the case, I still have to try. I will pick you up and we'll go to Mr. Anderson to consult on your case, Sven offered. The Anderson family? Olivia hesitated, but eventually agreed. After picking up Olivia, Sven accompanied her to the Andersons' law firm. They consulted with the top lawyer of the firm, Zed Anderson, who listened to Olivia's story and expressed his doubts about winning the case. Sven asked if there were any alternatives, but Zed Anderson explained that the other party had provided evidence as Polly's original owner, leaving them with few options. He suggested seeking compensation for the expenses incurred in raising Polly instead. Olivia, however, stood up, rejecting the notion, as her attachment to Polly surpassed any monetary value. It's a challenging case indeed, Sven remarked sympathetically. Why don't you call Chris for help? How would he be able to help me? Olivia turned to Sven. Actually, Chris and Wyatt are well acquainted with each other, Sven remarked, withholding the details of their strained relationship. Really? Olivia's eyes sparked with hope. Do you think he could help then? I suppose. I'm not entirely sure, Sven replied hesitantly. Ma'am, sir, is there anything else I can assist you with? Zed Anderson interrupted their conversation, aware that there were others waiting on him. No, Sven replied, standing up. Come on, let's go, Olivia. All right, Olivia agreed. As Liv and Sven stepped outside, they accidentally bumped into someone. Sven? Haley's eyes brightened with surprise. She had come to meet with Zed Anderson and hadn't expected to encounter Sven. Recently, Sven had dealt with a case at a nightclub he was at, and Zed Anderson had been involved as his lawyer. Hi there, what are you doing here? Sven nodded. I have some business with my dad, Haley replied, noticing Olivia's presence. She smiled courteously and greeted, Hello, Miss Johnson. Olivia responded with a quick fake smile as she walked past Haley. Her mood was not conducive to feigning civility at that moment. All right, Haley replied, unable to stop her heart from racing after seeing Sven. She had a crush on him the way young teens have crushes on famous actors, but she didn't tell anyone. Well, have a good day, Sven. Sven nodded and jogged toward Olivia and called out, Wait for me, Liv. Back in her father's law firm, Haley approached her father, Zed Anderson, and inquired about the reason for Sven and Olivia's visit. They came for a consultation, Zed Anderson replied, looking up from his computer. Do you know that girl? She's the eldest daughter of the Johnson family. The ones who own Johnson's Food? Haley answered. Ah, I see. Zed Anderson's eyes gleamed with interest. You've attended numerous high society banquets. Are you acquainted with her? I know her, but, well, not very well. Haley's response was somewhat evasive. In that case, maybe you should establish a good relationship with her, Zed Anderson advised. I heard the contract between Johnson family and their current law firm is about to expire. If you can secure a contract for them to work with us as their law firm, it would be beneficial for both our family and you. Okay, Haley nodded, fully aware of the situation's importance. As Sven escorted Olivia back to the Johnson mansion, he assured her, Chris is not at home right now, but once he returns, I will inform him about this matter with your dog. Thank you for your effort, Olivia expressed her gratitude, and thanks for accompanying me today. You're welcome, Sven replied. With a smile, Olivia waved and entered the mansion. Inside, she was immediately greeted by Monica's voice complaining in the kitchen. Bruno loudly instructed her on how to prepare a quiche. Olivia shook her head. While the approach had its benefits, it might prevent Monica from developing a genuine passion for cooking, since Bruno was basically just barking out orders at her. Climbing the stairs, Olivia reached her room. Polly eagerly greeted her with lots of yelps and licks. She squatted down and tenderly patted Polly's head. Polly, Olivia spoke softly. Do you want to go with Wyatt Newman? Do you like him? Was he treating you well? Gosh, I hope he was treating you well. With an enigmatic gaze, Polly closed her eyes, enjoying the warmth of Olivia's touch. I really don't want you to leave, Olivia chuckled, reminiscing about Wyatt's genuine concern for Polly earlier. Perplexed, Polly raised her head, seemingly puzzled by her owner's words. Embracing Polly affectionately, Olivia gently caressed her head. I can't bear losing you. I truly can't bear it. After all this time, Polly had become her family, her most trusted companion in the entire Johnson mansion. The thought of parting with her twisted Olivia's heart with pain. Olivia spent the entire afternoon in her room with Polly. When the maid came to call her for dinner, she declined the invitation, stating that she wasn't hungry and had no appetite. Still, she attended to Polly's needs. She poured a bowl of dog food that Jeff Dreyer had sent and placed it in front of Polly. Hungry? It's time to eat. Excited, Polly wagged her tail and eagerly devoured the entire bowl of food. Once finished, she looked up at Olivia, hoping for more. Whimpering softly, she blinked her eyes in an attempt to coax Liv into playing. Olivia shook her head with a helpless smile. You're such a sweet, playful girl, aren't you? Are you still hungry? Liv poured half a bowl of dog food for Polly, indulging its desires. Seeing the replenished food, Polly rejoiced and continued eating with gusto. Olivia playfully shook her head at Polly's food-loving behavior. The canine had developed these habits from its time at the hospital and the maid's secret indulgences in the mansion. You are so adorable. Who wouldn't love you? Olivia smiled, her eyes full of affection as she gazed at Polly. But despite her affection for Polly, Olivia knew that she wasn't the only one who liked her, especially after discovering Polly's considerable value. She thought back to her encounter with Wyatt, who seemed willing to part with a substantial sum just to regain custody of his dog. I can't let him succeed, she thought, but how? Later that night, in Monica's bedroom, Olivia's half-sister complained to her mother, Rachel, about Olivia's actions. She felt that Olivia had stolen Polly in order to extort a large sum from Wyatt Newman. People are mysterious creatures, Rachel comforted her daughter, tucking her in. Once they form emotional connections, they do silly things, like pay people large sums of money just to get a silly little dog back. Rachel smiled and kissed her daughter's forehead. Don't worry about it. Just focus on your schoolwork and social life, and let Mommy handle everything. As Rachel left the room and closed the door, her smile vanished, replaced by a ruthless expression. She wouldn't allow Olivia to get any money from Wyatt without a fight. Any financial gains Olivia would make would only help Victoria more, and Rachel despised Victoria deeply. Meanwhile, in Olivia's room, moonlight poured through the window, casting an enchanting glow. Outside, frost collected on the sill. Sitting at the foot of her bed, Olivia looked through the information of Wyatt Newman had left about Polly. She saw pictures of a young and tiny Polly, and then recalled how she had carried Polly in her arms when they first met. Now, the husky had grown larger and heavier, making it difficult for her to lift her. Smiling tenderly, Olivia's hand gently caressed Polly's sleeping body. She cherished every moment they spent together. The next day, when Sven informed Chris about the situation, he became concerned. He knew that handling this matter wouldn't be easy, especially with Wyatt's attachment to Polly. Despite their complicated history, Chris decided to visit Wyatt's New York penthouse early in the morning. Upon seeing Chris, Wyatt was surprised and greeted him warmly, remarking that it was a rare occasion. Chris didn't waste any time and asked directly, "Tell me, what would make you give up custody of Polly?" Wyatt corrected him. "Her name is Betty." "Betty? What kind of name is that?" Chris had been calling the dog Polly for so long that he couldn't imagine her as anything else. Wyatt teased, "I've never seen you so excited about someone other than Vera." Ignoring the remark, Chris pressed, "Stop the jokes. Tell me." "I haven't had breakfast yet." Wyatt deflected. "Have you eaten? Do you want to join us?" Chris stared into Wyatt's eyes and knew that this matter could not be rushed, so he answered, "Okay, but after we eat, you have to talk to me about Polly." "Sure," Wyatt responded and said, Kiki, I'm ready to eat now. Yes, sir. Wyatt's female assistant nodded at Chris, then turned around and told someone to begin serving breakfast. Wyatt led Chris into his dining room. When Olivia woke up back at the Johnson family mansion, she found her puppy curled up against her body, fast asleep. Because Polly's legs were sprawled out over Olivia's legs, her own legs had gone numb, and she felt a tingling sensation, as if an electric current surged through them when she attempted to move. Ouch! Taking a sharp breath, Olivia winced in pain. Her legs, waist, and back were all throbbing with discomfort. With a single motion, Polly woke up too. She let out a low murmur, pawing at the air affectionately, and then sat up, sticking out its tongue to lick Olivia. Stop, don't move. Olivia gritted her teeth, urging, Polly, please get off my leg. Polly remained on her leg, causing further numbness and pain. After a few moments, Polly finally complied and moved away from Olivia's leg. She had slept contentedly throughout the night, but now, her owner didn't appear as happy. It's okay, girl. You were being a good girl. I know. I'm not mad at you. After resting for a few more minutes and shaking her legs out, the discomfort in Olivia's legs subsided. She took a shower and changed into jeans and a cashmere sweater. As she dried her wet hair, she instructed, Polly, stay in the room. I'll go get some breakfast for you to eat. Polly seemed puzzled, running to where her dog food was kept and barking. Wasn't there any dog food left? Olivia laughed. No, being greedy, you ate all the stuff I had in here. I have to get you more from downstairs. Polly whined in disappointment, wondering why she had to wait to eat. Observing Polly's reaction, Olivia shook her head in amusement. You're such a little foodie diva. Olivia sighed. I love you so much, she thought. I won't let them take you away, even if it means I have to personally stop Wyatt Newman myself. She wasn't sure if it was her legs still regaining feeling or the anger within her, but she felt a distinct tingling in her body, the same one she got when her powers surfaced. When Olivia entered the dining room for breakfast, she found only Monica seated at the table eating. Michael was already at work, and Rachel was in the kitchen, testing out mocktails for an upcoming charity event. Monica glanced at Olivia and sneered, I see right through you. I know what you're doing to that Wyatt guy. You really think you're sitting on a mountain of gold? Ignoring her comment, Olivia coldly glanced at Monica and decided to ask the maids to deliver her and Polly's breakfast to her room instead. Then she returned upstairs. When she did, Rachel secretly exchanged glances with the maid. The maid understood and nodded, heading into the pantry. Olivia returned to her room where Polly eagerly greeted her. Good girl. Olivia rubbed Polly's head and gently scratched her back, and Polly closed her eyes in blissful enjoyment. That's right, my little cutie. Olivia smiled affectionately. Soon, a knock on the door interrupted their moment. Miss, I'm here to deliver your breakfast. Come in. Olivia opened the door. The maid entered with 2 plates in hand, placing one on the table and the other on the floor. As she put down the plate on the floor, she hesitated, then made a decision. At that moment, Olivia focused her mind, and she could hear the maid's internal thoughts. Polly, don't blame me. Madame forced me to do this. I had no choice. I'd give you better things to eat if it were up to me. I'm sorry. As the maid retreated, Olivia's expression darkened. She realized that Rachel intended to poison Polly to death. Kicking the plate away, Olivia sternly told Polly, You're not allowed to eat that. Polly was puzzled. She was hungry, and the food was right there, but her owner looked so upset. Olivia's face was somber. Rachel had devised this sinister plan, and if she didn't possess her mind-reading ability, she might have fallen into the trap. If Polly died, Rachel would probably accuse Olivia of poisoning her, so Wyatt Newman couldn't have her, claiming that her character was violent and vindictive and extreme. Thinking this, Olivia looked around the room angrily and distressed. Deciding to act, Olivia dialed Wyatt's number. As soon as he answered, she said, Hi, It's Olivia Johnson." "Miss Johnson has reconsidered my offer?" Wyatt smirked. He knew people could be bought with enough money. Loyalty and emotions meant nothing to them in the face of cold, hard cash. Olivia was disgusted with his tone. "Yes," she said. As much as she wanted to hurt Wyatt and stop him from taking Polly, Olivia now feared for Polly's life if she stayed in the Johnson mansion. "I love you enough to save you from Rachel," Olivia thought as she watched Polly, "even if it means I have to part with you." She knew she couldn't be selfish and keep Polly here if it meant risking Polly's life. "You should hurry and get here quickly," Olivia told Wyatt, gritting her teeth, hating that she had to do this. "Before I go back on my word." She ended the call, not giving Wyatt a chance to respond. Hearing the conversation's tone, Wyatt hesitated for a moment. He then looked at Chris and said, "I think we don't need to talk anymore. Miss Johnson is willing to return Polly to me." "What?" Chris was surprised. He knew how much Polly meant to Olivia. The last time he was at her house, it became evident that Polly was more than just a pet to her. It was her best friend and family. How could she agree so easily? Was it for money? This didn't align with Olivia's personality at all. Wyatt stood up, wiping his mouth. "Chris, would you be interested in coming along to fetch Betty with me and bring her home?" Yes. Chris wanted to see Olivia. He needed to figure out what was going on. "Then let's go together." Wyatt smiled, instructing his female assistant. "Kiki, get the car ready." "Yes, young master." Kiki complied. After organizing Polly's belongings, Olivia discovered a wooden box filled with all of Polly's toys. Some were gifts she bought, others from the veterinary hospital, and some sent by Millie and Wendy. She took these things, along with the box of gold bricks gifted in exchange for Polly by Wyatt, to the living room. Soon after she descended the stairs, Wyatt arrived with Chris. Seeing Chris, Olivia knew that he must have spoken to Wyatt after Sven informed him of her situation. With a forced smile, Olivia addressed Wyatt. "You came rather quickly." "Miss Johnson, you were faster than I anticipated as well." Wyatt smiled. "So as promised, name your price and I will meet it." Olivia disliked Wyatt's attitude, but she brushed it off. She touched Polly and said, "Polly means a lot to me. We understand that Betty holds special significance to you, so we'll do our best to accommodate your wishes." Kiki maintained her professional smile and responded, familiar with this kind of bargaining. "Polly enjoys having her back scratched, and her ears too. But she dislikes her nose and the surrounding areas being touched. She might have suffered an injury there before, while she was on the street, making it sensitive and delicate," Olivia explained while demonstrating. Wyatt interrupted to correct her, insisting on calling her Betty repeatedly. Continuing undeterred, Olivia advised, "She absolutely loves playing with her tennis ball, but don't play too long. She gets quite gluttonous and enjoys the salmon dog food, which improves her fur, but she shouldn't have it exclusively because it's so rich. So I tend to do the salmon in the morning and a regular kibble in the evening. Hopefully you don't consider that too high maintenance." Kiki chimed in. "I think we will probably be fine with what worked for Betty before she ran away." Ignoring Wyatt's interruptions, Olivia added, "Don't feed her chicken, she's allergic to it. Praise her often and rub her head when doing so. She'll be very happy. She's also a bit overweight, so ensure she gets enough exercise." While listening, Wyatt refrained from interrupting, realizing that Olivia cared deeply for Polly. Yet he couldn't help but correct her each time she called her Polly. "It's Betty." Olivia felt like there were more things she wanted to say but couldn't bring herself to continue. She looked at Wyatt. "You can take her now." "Name your price," Wyatt insisted. Shaking her head, Olivia replied, "I don't want money. I only want you to promise me that you'll protect her and never let anyone harm her, even a little bit." This was something Olivia couldn't guarantee herself. Her path ahead would become increasingly challenging, and there might be situations where she could no longer ensure Polly's safety. She knew what Rachel was capable of, and she couldn't let anyone else get caught in the crosshairs. Wyatt was taken back by her words but nodded. I can guarantee that. Don't lose her again either, Olivia warned. If you lose her again and I find her, I won't let you off so easily. She knew that Polly's wandering had left her with painful memories, and sometimes the husky would wake up in the middle of the night, alert and defensive. I won't lose her again, Wyatt promised. This was not only a commitment to Olivia, but also a promise to himself. Olivia then pushed the box of gold bricks towards Wyatt. I don't want this either. Take it back and use it to pamper Betty. I won't take the gift back, Wyatt said, expressing gratitude for Olivia's care for Betty. He stood up and said, I think you actually deserve it. Clearly, she was in the right hands while she was missing, so keep this as a token of my gratitude. He nodded, then turned. Goodbye. Olivia got up, holding Polly's leash, and followed Wyatt and Kiki and Polly to the front door. The leash was still relatively new. When they reached Wyatt's car, Olivia gritted her teeth and handed the leash to Wyatt, afraid she would regret her decision the next second. Wyatt took the leash from her, giving her a long look before helping Polly into the car. As Polly got in, she turned around, waiting for Olivia to get in as well. However, the door closed abruptly with a bang. Polly barked anxiously. Her owner hadn't gotten into the car yet. Seeing Polly in the car, Olivia's heart sank. Sadness and reluctance filled her. Polly's anxious cry turned into sorrowful whimpers. Was her new owner abandoning her? She didn't want to leave Olivia. Wyatt reached out to comfort Polly, calling her Betty. Perhaps the dog finally recognized him, or it realized that its struggles were futile, because Polly gradually calmed down, though, but its mournful eyes still looked toward Olivia's vanishing figure as Wyatt drove off. Betty, Wyatt said as he stroked Polly's back. He made a solemn vow never to let Polly go missing again. Polly is gone, Olivia thought. When Olivia returned inside, she knew there would be no one like Polly to greet her, or make her feel welcome and loved and full. This feeling of loss made her heart sink, and his head sink. She fell into the couch, and she did not want to move anymore. She didn't even want to talk. Looking at Olivia's appearance, Chris wanted to comfort her, but didn't know where to start. He opened his mouth and found no words. I'll let you have some time, he said finally. Perhaps letting her be alone right now was the best choice. Olivia nodded and then walked up the stairs to her room, shutting the door behind her as she flopped onto her bed. Lying on the bed like this, Olivia suddenly seemed to understand her mother's sorrow when Olivia left for the Johnson mansion. She felt helpless in having to send away the family member that she cherished so much. She could only watch passively. She wanted to keep her, but did not dare to, and could not say it out loud, other than praying that her baby could live a better life. This kind of helpless pain was excruciating. Olivia didn't even have the strength to cry. Scenes of her past interactions with Polly replayed in her mind. She lay like this for so long she eventually fell asleep. When she woke suddenly, she felt as if Polly was still there, and when she opened her eyes, she saw that night had already fallen. She reflexively sat up. Oh no, I haven't prepared food for Polly yet, she muttered. But then, the next second, Olivia looked around the empty room, hugging her knees as she sat. The darkness in the room made her fearful, and she suddenly understood when Polly used to jump into her bed in the middle of the night. It wasn't because Polly was afraid after having nightmares. It was because Polly sensed that Olivia was uneasy and afraid of the dark. Polly crawled into her blanket and squeezed into her arms every night to comfort her in her own way. Polly had always been trying to protect her and tell her, "Don't be afraid, I'm here." All along, she was the one being protected and taken care of. But now she was alone. Polly was gone. Pressing her head on her knees, Olivia's heart was filled with waves of sadness. She felt so terribly she was not even able to cry. She only felt that her heart was very heavy, and her limbs felt like cement. The sadness was like a dark cloud enveloping her entire body. Olivia's phone rang. If it was any other time, Polly would definitely let out a little bark to alert her to the ringing. Olivia reached out to grab the phone and looked at the caller ID. It was Chris. She answered. Hello? Are you home? He asked. Yeah, what can I do for you? Olivia's voice was a little low. She remembered that Chris was present earlier and had not properly thanked him, even though Polly was still taken away. "I'm at your door. Could you come out for a moment?" Chris said. "Chris, I'm really not in the mood to go out and hang with you today." Olivia let out a long breath. She was so tired. She didn't want to move, nor did she even want to sit up. "I know, just come outside. I have something to give you." Chris heard Olivia's voice and could not help feeling sorry for her. "I will wait for you." After saying this, he did not give Olivia another chance to refuse and directly hung up the phone. Olivia heard him end the call and frowned. "Hello? What the heck?" Chris actually hung up on her. After hesitating for a long time, Olivia still got up from the bed. No matter how much she didn't want to go out, she still had to say thank you. And according to her understanding of Chris, if she didn't go to meet him now, Chris would just wait outside until she did. He was stubborn like that. Olivia sighed and put on a heavy coat before walking out of her bedroom. As she made her way downstairs, she thought about how awful she felt. "This is all Rachel's doing," she thought. "Rachel tried to kill my dog and forced me to either take the blame for Polly's death or send Polly to live with someone else. It was a lose-lose for me." Olivia's eyes flickered red with hatred. But what Rachel doesn't understand is that now, with Polly gone and nobody here to distract me, I will focus all my energy on Rachel again. She narrowed her eyes, and vengeance will be mine. Once Olivia opened her mansion's front door, the wet and cold wind blew towards her, whipping into her collar and making her shiver. "Hey," she muttered, when she looked up and saw Chris leaning against a black BMW SUV. "You're here. Thank you for coming to see me for a moment." Chris looked at Olivia's exhausted face and felt his heart ache for her. "Thank you for helping me to plead with Wyatt today." Olivia nodded. "You're welcome." Chris shook his head. "It's the least I could do." "How do you know him?" Olivia asked Chris. "Are you two friends?" "Not really," Chris replied. Although they had known each other for many years, they hated each other. "He'll be very good to Polly, though, right?" Olivia asked uneasily. "Yes, he will." Chris nodded affirmatively. He was not sure about other things, but Wyatt was good to dogs, and to those he loved. That's good. Olivia murmured and looked at Chris. "Why did you call me here?" "I have something for you," Chris said as he opened the trunk of the BMW. "It's all for you." Olivia stared blankly at a rag doll in the trunk. Her nose twitched, and she suddenly burst into tears. There were countless husky dolls in the trunk. The big ones were half the height of a person, the small ones were the size of a palm, and the entire trunk was filled with them. "I'm going to give these to Polly tomorrow. I brought them in case you wanted to touch them, so they have your scent on them, so she knows you're always close by." Chris held Olivia in his arms with a heartache. "It's okay to cry. It will feel better when you cry." There were so many memories. After knowing each other for a while now, Olivia finally felt safe enough to boldly cry out in front of Chris's chest. Seeing this scene from the rearview mirror on the right, Sven could not help but feel terrible for the girl. After nearly an hour, Olivia finally calmed down. After crying, she felt much more relaxed. "Thank you." Of course. This was what he should do as a fiancé. Olivia looked at Chris's chest and said apologetically, "I will compensate you with some cash tomorrow for however much all this was." "It's nothing." Chris smiled and said, "I just want you to feel better. I know it'll take time." Taking a long breath, Chris reached out and rubbed Olivia's head. "If you still feel uncomfortable at any time, and call me at any time, I will always accompany you." "Okay." Olivia felt a wave of warmth pulse through her chest. "Thank you." "Of course, I'm always here." Chris did not say anything else. He just smiled and left with his driver. When she was alone, Olivia retreated to her bedroom. It was lonely and quiet here without Polly. Olivia wiped the tears from the corner of her eyes with her hand. Although Polly had been taken away, her life still had to continue. Chris's actions warmed her heart. She looked at the clock. It was already 8 o'clock. She hadn't eaten anything since Polly left today, yet she still really wasn't in the mood to eat. Suddenly, someone knocked on the door. "Who is it?" Olivia muttered. "Liv, can you open the door for me?" Michael's voice came from outside the door. "Dad?" Olivia opened the door and saw Michael holding a plate. "I saw that you didn't come down for dinner, and I was worried about you." Michael walked in with his plate. "Why don't you at least try it and see if it suits your appetite?" Her father had an awkward, clunky tableside manner, but it warmed her heart to see him try regardless. "Okay," Olivia nodded. "Thank you, Dad." Olivia dug into the lamb and rice dish before her. "It's very delicious." "Don't eat so quickly, you choke," Michael teased, seeing her gulp the food down. "Sorry," she smiled. Perhaps she was indeed a little hungry after all. Seeing Olivia eat so quickly, Michael flashed a gratified smile. He was glad he thought to bring her something, figuring she was hungry. He looked at Olivia with a soft gaze. "Liv, I know you will feel sad right now." He had a dog when he was young and knew that feeling. "If you really like dogs, I will ask my assistant to buy you an obedient one tomorrow. One that we can be sure doesn't already belong to someone else." "No need." Olivia shook her head, stopping him. She knew that any dog she took in would be in danger as long as Rachel was here. "It's Rachel we need to get rid of," she thought. "Dad, you don't have to worry about me. I'm much better now," she assured her father. Besides, other dogs could not replace Polly. It would be silly to even try. "All right." Michael turned around and stared blankly around the room. "Did I see Chris Jones come by just a bit ago?" "Yes," Olivia nodded. "He wanted to make sure I was okay." "He is thoughtful." Michael nodded in satisfaction and said, "Yeah," Olivia agreed. "Very thoughtful." They had a deal, but he'd gone above and beyond, and now she felt herself thinking of him often and appreciating him for being there for her almost whenever she needed someone. "Liv," Michael said earnestly, "every one of us will experience many difficult separations in our lives. They are painful, and the feeling of separation is very bitter. But they will also represent meaningful relationships and beautiful memories in your life, because separation is only difficult when you've had a wonderful relationship that preceded it." "Is that how you feel about your and Mom's separation?" Olivia asked. Michael was stunned for a moment and then smiled bitterly. "Victoria and I were probably destined to separate." Olivia really wanted to know what happened between Michael and her mother, but she could not ask. Besides, even if she asked, Michael would not tell her. "Quickly eat the rest of your meal, don't let it get cold," Michael urged. "Okay," Olivia responded and started to eat again. She looked at Michael from the corner of her eye while eating. To be honest, she was still very happy that Michael was good to her and her mother. After all, she had never enjoyed fatherly love in her previous life. In this life, Michael's efforts touched her and made her feel welcome. At the same time, the more Olivia was moved, the more guilty she felt in her heart. Michael's wife Rachel had already gotten together with his brother, but Olivia could not say anything, though she knew. She had merely heard Rachel and Bruno's thoughts, so she did not have any real evidence of their tryst. So if she were to say something, she would need proof. Besides, based on how much Grandpa Jack doted on Bruno, even if she exposed Bruno and Rachel's tryst, she wondered if Grandpa Jack would still force Michael to continue his relationship with Rachel for the sake of the Johnsons' family. Now was not the time to reveal anything yet, Olivia thought, so she suppressed the guilt in her heart and ate her last bite of food. The best trump card must be used at the most appropriate time, she told herself. Only when the time, place, and people are in the right place can it be used to its greatest effect. When that moment presents itself, it'll be the time for Rachel to get out of the Johnson mansion. Then Victoria could come back. "Are you full?" Seeing Olivia finish eating, Michael asked. "Yep." Olivia nodded with satisfaction. "It's very delicious." "Good. Then you should rest well. I have some work to do. Just wanted to make sure you were okay." "Thank you," Olivia nodded, "for checking in on me. You're welcome." After saying that, Michael took the plate out of the room and closed the door behind him. "Sorry," Olivia muttered in her heart. "Dad, sorry I can't tell you about Rachel yet." She retracted her gaze and sighed softly. Looking around the room, Olivia couldn't help but miss Polly. Inside Wyatt Newman's penthouse, his assistant Kiki looked troubled. "Sir, Betty still doesn't want to eat." Ever since Betty came back, she had been listless. "I got it." Moving his gaze away from the pile of documents, Wyatt let out a light sigh, then got up and walked to the doghouse he had prepared for Polly. The room was exquisitely renovated, and it was so luxurious that it made people's jaws drop. Polly lay listlessly next to the floor-to-ceiling window, staring eagerly at the moonlight outside the window. Not far away from her was a dog food basin, and inside it was dog food that had never been touched. "Betty," Wyatt called out. Polly ignored him and just kept looking out the window. Wyatt put his right hand together and patted his left palm 3 times. When Polly heard this command, she immediately sat up. Her upper body was straight, but her expression was still sad. Wyatt called out, "Betty, come here." Polly looked at him but did not come. Then she turned her head to look out the window and wailed a few times with a sad look in her eyes. Seeing this, Wyatt thought of Olivia and called out tentatively, "Polly, come here." When Polly heard this, she stood up and walked towards Wyatt. Seeing Polly's actions, Wyatt frowned. The name Betty was clearly much better than Polly. Squatting down and touching Polly's head, Wyatt asked, "Do you miss her a lot, that Olivia?" At the mention of the name Olivia, Polly stuck out its tongue and licked Wyatt's palm. "I see." Touching Polly's head, Wyatt sighed heavily. Several days went by, and Olivia still hadn't figured out what she wanted to do with the gold that Wyatt Newman had given her. But she put it out of her mind for now, because the evening of the Leedham banquet was fast approaching. On the evening of the event, wearing a simple and elegant dress, Olivia went with her father, Michael, and the rest of her family to the Leedham residence. Their home was nearly as big as the Johnson family mansion, and most of the guests were familiar faces. By now, Olivia was used to seeing the same high society families at her father's social functions, because the families all worked together. The Leedham family was in the vegetable and fruit packaging industry. 60% of the food, vegetables, and fruits in the States were packaged by the Leedhams, so the relationship between the Leedham family and the Johnson family was quite close, since the Johnsons owned a huge supermarket chain. "Monica, hey!" Amy Leedham smiled and called out as soon as Monica arrived. "Melanie and Haley Anderson are here already. Quickly follow me so I can make sure we're all seated together." "Okay," Monica smiled as she took Amy's hand and left. She still had something to ask Amy for help with today. Amy and Monica passed Olivia without saying a word. Luckily, this kind of disregard did not concern Olivia at all. After conversing with Monica's minions at the last society event, Olivia was uninterested in dealing with them again. Instead, she walked around the Leedham residence grand banquet hall, paying attention to the various entrances and exits, should she need to know where they were. She had caught Rachel saying she wanted to destroy Olivia at this very banquet, so she had to remain vigilant and alert. But Olivia also remembered something else. In her previous life, a kid had drowned at the banquet of Leedham's, and it caused quite a stir at that time. She did not know if it was an accident or if it was a result of foul play, nor did the police find out. They only treated it as a child playing around and falling into the pool accidentally while no one was watching. Olivia carefully looked at the children present. Unfortunately, she didn't know which child drowned in her previous life. Guests had been kept away from the scene once it happened. Suddenly, however, as Olivia was walking towards the refreshments table, a kid who came out of nowhere ran into her. The momentum made Olivia stumble a few steps backward. The little child who ran into her also tumbled down on the ground. After standing up, the little boy patted his butt with dissatisfaction. He looked at Olivia angrily and scolded, "Old lady, you don't know how to look in front of you when you walk. Old lady?" Olivia was stunned. She was only 17 years old. "Is that really how you speak to someone older than you?" she teased. The little boy wore a dark blue suit jacket, a yellow tie, and a blue pair of pants. His fair little face was red from running around, and Olivia found it amusing. She smiled at him and then stepped around him, walking in another direction. "Old hag, you stop right there!" The little boy pouted and ran in front of Olivia to stop her. "You quickly apologize to me." "The one who should apologize is you," Olivia giggled and said. She couldn't believe this little kid was acting so entitled at such a hoity-toity event, but it tickled her a bit nonetheless. "You old hag, you don't have any manners at all? You still dare to ask me to apologize?" The child grimaced. "Do you not know who I am?" Olivia looked around. Was she supposed to know who this child was? The little boy's face turned red, and he raised his tiny head proudly. He had an insufferably arrogant look on his face. "You are just a little kid. What are you so arrogant for?" Olivia poked the boy's brow with her finger and shot him an amused smirk. "Get out of the way. I don't want to bother with you." "How dare you try to humiliate me?" The little boy glared at Olivia. Olivia could not help but roll her eyes. This kid was only 7 or 8 years old, and he was so obnoxious. Suddenly, a maid ran through the crowd shouting, "Robbie, where are you?" When the little boy heard his name, he looked at the maid in panic. Then he made a big face at Olivia and said, "Old lady, I will teach you a lesson in the future if you ever run into me again." After saying this warning, he ran away like a wisp of smoke. Even though she was unhappy with the little boy's arrogant threat, Olivia still kindly stopped the maid who was looking for him. "Are you looking for a 7 or 8-year-old boy in a dark blue shirt and yellow tie?" "Yes." The maid nodded. "Did you see him?" "Yes." Olivia pointed to the left and said, "He ran over there." "Okay, thank you." The maid quickly curtsied. "Wait a minute," Olivia warned. "There are too many guests around tonight. Remember to keep him away from places like the swimming pool. It is not safe." "Okay, thank you." The maid thanked her again and then hurried toward the left. The young boy was too naughty. If he accidentally walked away and got lost, the maid could be in a world of trouble. Shaking her head helplessly, Olivia continued to stroll around the banquet and looked around vigilantly. In the corner of the room, a man had been following her closely with his eyes. "Olivia," he whispered. The man sized up Olivia and thought about how to make a move. He heard that this woman was Chris Jones' fiancée. He always felt that other people's women were more attractive than single women. He liked a challenge. The man picked up 2 glasses of wine from a passing tray and walked towards Olivia. "Miss Johnson, may I treat you to a drink?" "No, thank you." Olivia glanced at him. Max Zetfield was the heir to another large supermarket chain in New York City. He was famous for being a playboy, and she remembered that at the Cooper family's banquet, this person seemed to be Pamela's male companion. She remembered him standing over Pamela and using her powers to hurt him before being interrupted. "Miss Johnson." Max Zetfield once again stopped in front of Olivia. "Maybe I was too forward, offering you a drink right off the bat." "Yes, maybe." Olivia did not have a good impression of this person. "So you can leave now?" "Miss Johnson, my name is Max Zetfield." Max still did not give up. "I'm uninterested." Olivia frowned. She could read his intentions, and they weren't good. "Well, at least have a glass of wine with me. I snuck some for both of us." Max shook the wine cup. He had put a roofie in it, knowing that Olivia would do whatever he said once she had some. After that, he would take some photos to blackmail her, should he ever need anything from her in the future. He'd done it before to other young socialites. This kind of beautiful young girl was very naive and easy to trick. "You've messed with the wrong girl," Olivia thought, watching Max's thoughts, "and you've just walked into my trap." Standing by the window, Monica looked down at her half-sister and Max talking. "Max Zetfield is kind of trash. Why is he even here?" Amy Leadham asked. A trace of disgust flashed across Amy's eyes. This guy was notorious. If not for the fact that he had a rich father and a powerful uncle, he would have been exiled from Manhattan society a long time ago. Only this kind of trash is worthy of Olivia. Monica smiled. Melanie looked at Olivia's eyes full of hatred. That slut caused her to be so miserable the past year. No matter what kind of price she had to pay, she deserved it. Let's continue watching, Haley Anderson suggested. They watched as Olivia looked at Max and suddenly smiled charmingly. Then she stretched out her hand and elegantly took the wine glass from Max's hand. Seeing Olivia's cooperation, Max was secretly delighted. That is, until Olivia's wrist turned and she poured the entire glass of wine onto Max's pants. You! The smile on Max Zetfield's face completely froze. The red wine slid along his pants and dripped onto his shoes on the floor. You're courting death. It's not me who's courting death, Olivia coldly snorted. Max, why don't you open your beady little eyes and take a good look at who I, Olivia, am? In terms of money, do you think your family is better than my family? In terms of power, is your uncle better off than the Jones family? I think you've had enough of your life, haven't you? I could end you right now, she whispered. She wanted to right then and there, but there were too many people around. You bitch. Max Zetfield was speechless by Olivia's words. He just stared and said, just you wait. After saying this, he angrily left. Upstairs, Amy frowned. What is this? A lover's quarrel? So boring. Monica, is this what you want me to cooperate with your plan, just this? Amy's face was full of disappointment. Continue watching. Monica was also a little discouraged in her heart. Although she did not understand her cousin Beatrix's plan, she believed that it would definitely turn out well. Olivia looked at Max Zetfield, who was fleeting, and coldly snorted. She did not need to waste her breath and brain cells on this kind of scum. Wow, very impressive, someone said behind her. From the other side of the room, a young man who looked to be about 20 years old, dressed in a hand-tailored high-end suit, walked over while clapping. Miss Johnson certainly is very intriguing and bold. Just now, I was thinking of being a hero and swooping in to save you from Max like the damsel in distress you are, but I didn't even have the chance to do so. You seem to have handled him quite well enough on your own. Olivia sized up this person from head to toe. He was about 6 feet tall, and he was tan and handsome, with large, molten chocolate eyes. There was a warm, genuine smile on his face, and it did not seem like he had any malicious intentions. Can we talk? The person walked closer to Olivia and said with a smile, You see, I just came back to the country, and this is my first time attending such a banquet. I do not know anyone. Then how do you know me? She wondered. Who are you? What is your name? Olivia said, eyes narrowing. How do I know you? Look at my manners, the man grinned and said. I haven't introduced myself yet. I came from Washington, D.C. You can call me Jackson. Hello, my name is Olivia. Olivia nodded and greeted him. Then she pretended to look in the direction of each exit. This place is quite boring, right? Jackson smiled and said, I also feel that it is a bit stale. Why would you say that? Olivia looked at Jackson with interest. I noticed that you've been looking for the exits, probably thinking about when to leave. Jackson smiled and drank the wine in his glass. You've been observing me carefully. Olivia smiled. You really are a meticulous person. Jackson smiled and said, This is what a gentleman should do. Olivia looked at Jackson and said, Why don't you let me guess your occupation? Okay. Jackson put his right hand in his pocket and said, Guess. You're so attentive, and your behavior is appropriate. You're from the service industry, right? Olivia said with a smile. Jackson's smile froze. What made you say that? I heard my father talking about a family that would be here tonight from D.C., and their company focuses on the service industry. Don't tell me you are the heir to the Taylor family fortune. Wow, Miss Johnson is really smart. Jackson cocked an eyebrow. Olivia smiled. What was this guy up to? She could tell from reading his thoughts that he just kept thinking, Time to put the plan in place, Jackson. Anyway, this party's very boring. Why don't we sneak out and get some fresh air? Jackson asked. So that's what you want, Olivia thought. Are you suggesting we sneak out of here? Olivia asked Jackson. Without telling anyone? What's wrong with that? We can just come back later. Jackson smiled and said, We won't go far. I remember there's a good view behind us. There aren't many people, so it's good for us to go and take a look. Is that so? Olivia suspected that the moment she followed this Jackson fellow outside, there would be a large group of people following her. Afterwards, Monica and her friends would be able to claim they saw Olivia with the man who wasn't Chris Jones, canoodling in the corner of the Liedmans banquet. The news would shake the entire upper crust of New York City. Yeah, so are you interested in seeing the view? Jackson asked with a smile. No. Olivia smiled and shook her head. I have other things to do. Goodbye. After saying this, Olivia turned around and was about to leave. Wait a moment. Jackson immediately grabbed Olivia's wrist and quickly searched the crowd for a specific person. After that person signaled to him with a subtle hand gesture, Jackson nodded and loudly called out, Liv, wait! We are not that familiar with each other, so do not grab me. Olivia was disgusted and wanted to shake off Jackson's hand. At this time, 2 reporters came out of nowhere and took pictures of Olivia and Jackson, holding hands with their cameras. Liv, don't be angry, don't leave, Jackson said loud enough for people to hear. Then he pulled Olivia and immediately said, I was wrong, can you forgive me? Huh? Olivia was stunned for a moment and immediately understood what was going on. Jackson immediately knelt on the ground. Liv, if I did not treat you well, you can hit me or scold me, but don't say it's over. Don't say you're going to leave me. He was being over the top and performative. The corner of Olivia's mouth trembled. When Jackson shouted, the crowd of partygoers drew closer and gathered around. So now Olivia was standing in the middle of a large group. Oh no, she thought, looking around. Seeing that there were more and more people, Jackson acted even more energetically. Why are you being so heartless? I thought you said you wanted me, he asked. I thought we had an agreement. Olivia did not struggle or explain. She just let everyone watch and take pictures with an indifferent expression. Jackson saw that Olivia did not deny anything, and eventually he felt like he was putting on such an overdramatic show, he could not continue acting. He could only take out his final trump card. If you insist on leaving me, I will die. Is that Olivia Johnson? Someone asked. Isn't she Chris Jones' fiancée? What a shame, another person whispered. It seems that she is quite capable of being duplicitous despite her young age. I wonder what the Jones family will say. Monica, who was standing by the bed, curled her lips when she saw this. Let's go down and watch the show, she told her friends. She knew that Beatrix had been wise enough to enlist both Max Hetfield and Jackson Taylor to help bring down Olivia, to hedge her bets in case one failed. Okay, Amy smiled gloatingly. You guys go ahead, I'm a little uncomfortable. Haley Anderson had already made up her mind not to join in the fun of the Johnson family, remembering what her father had said about befriending Olivia so he could work for his father as his lawyer. Instead of going downstairs with her friends, she might as well stay here and watch quietly. Your loss, Amy said, and held Melanie's arm as they walked towards the crowd surrounding Olivia. On the other side of the room, Michael, Amy Leadham's father, and a few others who were discussing business also came to see what the fuss was about. When he saw that their daughter was being held by an unknown young man in the middle of the crowd, Michael frowned. Liv, what is going on? Yes, sister. Monica also looked surprised. What happened? Where did you just go now? Olivia looked at Monica. Me? I was just chatting with my friend. Monica looked at Amy. Right, Amy? Yeah. Amy nodded. We only came down when we saw the mess from upstairs. What's going on? Can't you see? Melanie Cooper coldly said. Our little Miss Perfect Olivia seems to have a secret boyfriend. Liv, how can you be so heartless to me? Jackson obviously did not want everyone to turn their attention elsewhere. He'd only received a deposit from Beatrix so far, and only after he was successful at humiliating Olivia would he receive the rest of the large sum that Beatrix promised him. "Wow, what did you do with him?" Monica asked innocently. Olivia felt her skin getting hot. Somehow, everyone around here seemed to suddenly believe something was going on between her and Jackson. No, she thought. No, this can't be happening. "Aren't you going to introduce us?" Monica asked, a wry smile dancing across her lips. "Who is your admirer?" "Why don't you ask him yourself?" Olivia looked at Monica. Monica's acting still needed improvement. "Who are you?" Monica asked Jackson. "I'm Jackson, and I work at Christian Dior, where Olivia shops sometimes." Jackson was still kneeling on the ground, his hand tightly holding Olivia's slender wrist. When he mentioned his occupation, his face revealed a touch of shame. So he wasn't Jackson Taylor of the Washington, D.C. Taylor family after all. He'd lied to Olivia, and she hadn't caught him because he just kept repeating, "I am from the Taylor family in Washington, D.C.," when she read his thoughts. A good liar believes the lie they're telling, she thought. "He works at Dior?" Onlookers began whispering as a wave of gossip spread through the crowd. "What? It can't be." Disgust rippled through the class's crowd. "Miss Johnson is having a little tryst with a shop worker?" "Well, maybe you really are low class, Olivia. Usually girls with our kind of money don't actually fall for the people who sell you your clothes." Melanie curled her lips. Jackson took this as a sign to continue with the ruse. "Liv, I really love you," he pleaded. "Didn't we have so many beautiful memories? Didn't we have so many sweet memories? Didn't you say you love me? Then why didn't you come to find me for so long?" Jackson looked like he was about to cry. "I just heard that you were engaged, right? I don't mind as long as we get to talk things out." "Gross." Monica looked disgusted and said, "Olivia, have you been seeing this guy? You actually did this behind Chris's back? What will the Jones family think when they find out?" "Shut up," Michael scolded Monica. Why did this child add oil to the fire? Monica gritted her teeth and shivered. In her heart, she secretly cursed Michael for being biased. Why was he standing up for Liv? "Liv, tell me what is going on." Michael did not believe this person's nonsense at all, but he couldn't understand what would bring a man to be so strange and make such a scene in front of so many people, if there weren't at least some truth to his claims. What else could have happened? Olivia smiled at Michael and said, "Somebody is trying to set me up. Clearly, someone is upset about the arrangement between our family and the Jones family. So they're trying to make me look bad, to ruin my relationship with Chris and his family." Hearing what Olivia said, a look of understanding flashed across the eyes of the guests. Indeed, the marriage between the Johnson family and the Jones family had many people jealous, and there were also many people who wanted to ruin it. In high society circles, intrigue and backstabbing was surprisingly common. People didn't really have anything better to do than try to marry the wealthiest person they could, solidify their family's business connections, and try to stop others from doing better than they themselves did. "So that's the case," the surrounding crowd whispered. "Then this lousy move is really tasteless. To think that a man like Jackson would stoop to such lows. And to think I almost believed it," another person murmured. Michael looked at Jackson, face darkening with anger. "Let go of my daughter's hand." "Mr. Johnson, I assure you I'm not lying. I am sincere. She and I did have a tryst." Jackson saw that the drama that he had put so much effort into was easily unraveled by Olivia, and that the crowd believed her, so he felt a little panicked. "Let go," Michael repeated. "Mr. Johnson, please don't stop me and Liv from being together." Jackson panicked more and tried to find the person who had gestured to him in the crowd, but he could not find her. "No need to talk nonsense with him," Olivia told her father. Her wrist was numb. "Just call the police. If you tell them he assaulted me and held me captive, I'm sure it will be easy enough for him to eat prison food for a few years." "Don't!" Jackson yelled out when he heard the word prison. He was only here because someone paid him, and he was hoping to earn a few years of money and then go back to his hometown to open a shop selling home decor. All he was supposed to do tonight was to pretend to be some random out-of-towner from Washington, D.C., who had a tryst with a girl at the party. And now, he was in a world of trouble. "Why shouldn't we haul you off to jail?" Olivia snorted and said, "My wrist is going to be broken if you don't let go." "Sorry." Jackson immediately let go of her hand. Olivia took back her hand and slightly moved it a few times before saying, "What are you waiting for? Call the police!" to her father. "Olivia, how can you be so heartless?" Jackson stood up and pretended to be shocked as she shook his head. At the same time, he took a few steps back and looked as if he had suffered a huge blow. Then, after scanning the room and zeroing in on the nearest exit, Jackson suddenly turned around and ran towards it. Before everyone could recover from their shock, Jackson had already rushed out of the crowd and ran from the room. "Catch him!" someone immediately shouted, and then a team of security guards in charge of the venue immediately rushed out and pressed Jackson on the ground. Then, under everyone's gaze, the security guards handcuffed the interloper. Seeing this, Monica gritted her teeth. Why is this Jackson guy so useless? Almost as useless as Max Zetfield, she thought. What was Beatrix doing? Thinking of this, Monica looked at Melanie and softly asked, "Cousin Melanie, where's Cousin Beatrix?" "My elder sister? She said that she's not feeling well and did not come," Melanie replied. Damn it. Monica frowned and looked around. Was this really the only plan Beatrix had come up with? How could this be? Monica had waited so long for this day to arrive, and this plan had failed so miserably and so quickly. "Monica, what are you looking for?" Melanie looked at Monica, looking left and right, and asked. "Nothing, I'm not looking for anything." Monica shook her head. Her cooperation with Beatrix was confidential. Beatrix had arranged it, and Monica only needed to be in charge of greeting Amy and then letting the people that Beatrix hired to come into the party. She only knew the secret signal that Beatrix gave, but did not know if maybe there were more people Beatrix arranged to come in that she didn't know about. Over where Jackson was now handcuffed, Olivia put her hands on her waist and said, "Who asked you to come here?" "You did," Jackson insisted. He wanted to use a tactic to delay Olivia while thinking of a way to escape. "Don't say my name, I really don't know you." Olivia shook her head. "I advise you to tell the truth quickly. At least explain it before the police come. Otherwise, you're in danger of being charged with trying to kidnap a minor." Hearing Olivia talk about the police, Jackson panicked again. Plus, he was firmly restrained by the security, so he could only say disappointedly, "Okay, I will tell you everything." "Go ahead." Olivia looked at Jackson. "Someone asked me to come here today. They asked me to find a person called Olivia so that I could send a photo of her to my phone and to pretend we were together, having some sort of illicit affair. I found her and tried to find a way to keep her occupied. I wanted people to think I had something with her. After that, they would give me money," Jackson explained. "That's it?" Michael frowned. "Who asked you to make a fool of my daughter?" "I have never seen her. We only spoke on the phone. She said that her name was Monica." As soon as Jackson finished speaking, everyone gasped and looked at Monica in unison. "What?" Monica was stunned and immediately shook her head. "No, I don't know anything. I've never talked to him before." "Monica?" Olivia's lips curled up, and then she looked at Jackson. Reading his thoughts, she could see he wasn't lying. He spoke to a person who called herself Monica over the phone, and he paid him via Venmo. "It's not me. It's true. I don't know anything." Monica was angry and anxious. What was her cousin Beatrix doing? Why was she causing trouble for her? "I really don't think it's Monica." Melanie defended Monica and said, "I heard Olivia herself once say that there was someone who was unhappy about the marriage between the Johnson family and the Jones family. Monica is from the Johnson family, so there is nothing for her to gain from angering the Joneses." "That's right, I would not harm my elder sister no matter what, or my family's reputation." Monica looked at Olivia with an innocent expression. Well, we know that's not true, Olivia sneered. Monica was trying to harm Olivia every chance she got. If they were in the privacy of the Johnson mansion, she would definitely mock her little sister and bring up every offense Monica had ever committed against her. But this was the Leadham residence, and Olivia had to take into account Michael's presence and his place in society. She couldn't embarrass her father. Olivia, tell them! Monica placed her hopes on Olivia. Why did Olivia not speak up for her? How could she go so far? Their surname was Johnson, and if they wanted to embarrass themselves, they would fight in front of everyone right now. Olivia, this selfish witch, only cared about herself and did not care about the Johnson family at all. Olivia wanted to roll her eyes at Monica. She was already helping Michael by not humiliating her little sister in public, but now Monica was hoping Olivia would help her get away from the crime. Wasn't this a joke? Who is the one who is so vicious? Michael asked. He felt that it couldn't be his daughter Monica. It would be too stupid to make her family look so bad in such a public way, right? Even impetuous Monica wouldn't mess up relations between the Johnson and Jones family. By this time, Rachel and Bruno had also come over. They were called over in the commotion, and Rachel looked on confused. Once she saw her daughter and stepdaughter in the middle of the crowd. Michael, what's going on? Rachel walked into the crowd and asked her husband. Someone is trying to make Liv look unfaithful and untrustworthy, and tried to break the engagement between the Jones family and our family. Michael frowned and pointed at Jackson and said, he slandered Monica and said that it was Monica who arranged for this to happen. What? Rachel was stunned. She wanted to scheme against Olivia, but did not anticipate that there would be someone who wanted to scheme against her own daughter as well. Rachel immediately determined that Olivia must have somehow orchestrated all of this in order to frame Monica. This must be some misunderstanding. Why would Monica do such a thing? Rachel's heart began to race. I wouldn't do that. Monica shook her head like a rattledrum. Mommy, I did not do it. Mommy knows that you didn't. Rachel sighed and said, but I'm afraid that others will deliberately set you up. Liv, don't you think so? Seeing Rachel asking her, Olivia raised her eyebrows. What did she mean? Was she saying that Olivia set Monica up? This matter must be investigated fully. Michael frowned. Then investigate it. Olivia glanced at Rachel and Monica. If she did not teach the mother and daughter a lesson today, they would continue to make her a target, and they'd feel emboldened to continue their underhanded schemes. Let's investigate it thoroughly and get to the bottom of this right now. How do you want to investigate it? Bruno looked Olivia up and down. He too wondered if Olivia had orchestrated all of this somehow to make Monica look bad. You said someone asked you to hurt me, right? Olivia looked at Jackson, who was still handcuffed, and asked, Yes. Jackson saw that there was no longer any value in hiding anything anymore. Okay, so how did you get let into this party? Olivia asked Jackson. There are many people checking invitation cards and the identity of the guests at the Leadham residence entrance. How did someone, sneak you in? Someone brought me in, Jackson replied, and we had a secret signal, so I would know when to enter the south entrance. Then I received the secret signal again when I was to start making a scene near Olivia. When they heard this, Amy and Monica's expressions changed. Monica was the one who told Amy about the secret signal and asked Amy to give the signal. They both worried that they would soon be found out. Who is the person who let you in? Olivia asked. Jackson muttered. It was a bald man wearing sunglasses, slightly taller than me. You're describing Frederick, a member of the Leadham family said. Call Frederick over. Soon, a security guard named Frederick was called over. When he saw Jackson in handcuffs, his eyelids couldn't help but twitch. Frederick, you were outside checking the invitations at the south entrance today. Why did you let this man in? Does he have an invitation? Carl Leadham asked. Carl was Amy Leadham's father and the head of the Leadham family and household. He was angry that such a giant commotion had distracted from his birthday party, and now he was determined to get to the bottom of it Sir, I just did what Amy asked me to do, Frederick replied with a troubled expression. She said they were friends, so I let him in. Them? You let multiple people in? Olivia raised an eyebrow. Who else? I also let in Max Zetfield, the eldest son of the Zetfield family's large supermarket chain. Frederick answered truthfully. Olivia couldn't help but laugh. It seemed Max Zetfield's purpose was to try and hurt Liv, too. Both men had failed. Amy, what's going on? Carl Leadham never expected that one of his own family members was involved in this lunacy. Amy was at a loss for words. She glanced at Monica and Olivia. These two sisters were truly troublemakers. Regret filled her heart as she remembered Haley Anderson's advice not to get involved. Alas, she should have listened. Devilish little girl, speak! You won't tell us? Carl Leadham's anger was so obvious. Some older women turned away, embarrassed for him. Okay, Amy gritted her teeth. She was unwilling to take the blame. Monica asked me to do it. Monica! So it was you! Carl Leadham was furious. He couldn't believe Monica was behind this. Melanie, speak up for Monica. Rachel turned to her niece. I don't know. Melanie stammered, defending Monica. Monica wouldn't do something like this, and she has no knowledge of it. Oh, sweet little Melanie, Olivia smirked. It's the second time you guys have tried to scheme against me at a party, and you still haven't caught on? Trying to hurt others with such a poorly thought-out plan never turns out well. But Monica wouldn't have the cunning to come up with this all on her own. You, on the other hand. What do you mean? Melanie looked at Olivia in confusion. People say you become familiar with something after doing it once or twice, Olivia said, pausing for emphasis. Monica has nothing to gain from this, but you, Melanie, would benefit from creating chaos to make people forget about what happened at your family's own birthday banquet a few weeks ago. What benefit do I get from being humiliated? Melanie felt Olivia's accusations were baseless. The Cooper and Johnson families had a close relationship, and they were in-laws. Why would she try to hurt the entire Johnson family, even if Olivia was her target? The news of me and some guy would spread across New York City, creating a buzz that could serve to distract from your family's scandal. Olivia continued, having pieced things together. As she read Monica's thoughts, she began to realize the real mastermind behind this was Beatrix and not Melanie. And Beatrix had bet on the plan failing, because she knew Olivia would be able to talk her way out of the Jackson scandal. But Beatrix's real goal was to create a public fight between Monica and Olivia, letting everyone think it was Monica who had planned this entire humiliation. That way, nobody would be talking about the scandal that had rocked the Cooper family weeks earlier. Hearing Olivia's words, Monica also realized she fell into Beatrix's trap. Beatrix pretended to help her, but was using her to shield Melanie's involvement and make her own family's troubles disappear from gossip circles. I didn't do anything, Melanie whined, claiming she had no prior knowledge and only got involved after coming to the Leadham residence today. I believe her. I think that's the truth, the crowd began to say. This scheming is deep, some people thought. The Cooper and Johnson families are allies. Is it acceptable for there to be so much infighting? Marriage and alliances are all a farce, another person whispered as the crowd voiced their opinions. Cousin Melanie, you're such a liar, Monica said with feigned pity. Why did you do this to us? If Beatrix was going to try and make Monica look bad, then she had no choice but to turn around and make Beatrix's sister Melanie look culpable for all of this. You are the one who orchestrated all this. You told me earlier to get excited for the big show, and I didn't know what you meant until now. I can't believe you would do this, just to make people stop talking about your own family's issues. The crowd gasped. Monica's words sealed Melanie's fate, and Melanie looked pale with shock. She had been betrayed by Monica. Rachel was also stunned by Monica's words. What was Monica doing? She wasn't supposed to destroy Melanie. Why did she just throw her under the bus? Something was definitely wrong. I'm telling you, Melanie is not a good person. She even tried to humiliate her own uncle so her dad could try to take over the family company. Now Monica was turning on Melanie completely and telling all the things Melanie had told her in confidence. If Beatrix is going to turn on me, then I will hurt her and you, Monica thought. What kind of person could humiliate their own flesh and blood? Monica said of Melanie. Wow, an onlooker said. The moral upbringing in the Cooper family leaves much to be desired. Agreed, another socialite whispered. Tisk, tisk, tisk. I thought the Cooper girls were good, well-behaved girls, but I suppose one must not judge a book by its cover. The remarks from those around her were akin to needles piercing through Melanie's skin, penetrating her flesh and traversing her spine. Her entire being ached, especially her limbs, which trembled uncontrollably. The surrounding crowd appeared like an impregnable barrier. Those derisive words, disdainful gazes, and cold expressions warped in Melanie's eyes. She felt like she couldn't breathe, as if an invisible hand gripped her throat and sealed her mouth and nose. The more she endeavored to struggle, the tighter the sensation suppressed her. Gradually, even inhaling became an arduous task, and she had a panic attack, until finally her consciousness seemed to slip away. Her vision darkened, and with a pallid countenance, Melanie collapsed before the assembled crowd. "Oh my God!" someone shrieked. "Could someone call for an ambulance?" Olivia declared dispassionately, firmly believing that today's events would leave a lasting psychological scar in Melanie's heart. That'll teach you, Olivia thought. Yet, Olivia's objectives did not end there. Wearing a suggestive smile, Olivia met Rachel's uneasy gaze. Observing Olivia's smug expression, Rachel clenched her fists. That infuriating little witch. Olivia stifled a little chuckle and then approached Michael. She took hold of his arm. "Father, I was genuinely terrified just now. Failure to resolve this matter adequately could spell trouble. I worry if she doesn't learn her lesson, Melanie Cooper will only do more things like this. Fret not, I won't allow anyone to besmirch your reputation." Michael reassured his daughter, gently patting Olivia's head before turning his icy gaze towards Rachel. "Rachel, inform the Cooper family that they owe me a proper explanation for what Melanie did here today. And they must come in person to apologize for her behavior," Olivia interjected with a smile. "All of them." "I understand." Rachel's voice trembled. She knew that after this incident, the Cooper family would no longer be as close to her and Monica. If she formally accused Melanie of trying to embarrass Monica and Olivia, Rachel would cause a rift and lose the support of her family. But she had to if she wanted to appease Michael. The Johnson and Cooper families were essentially about to sever ties. "Mr. Johnson, I deeply regret the distress your daughters endured at my gathering." Carl Leadham spoke with a smile. Even with the Johnson family no longer a concern, he still had to tread carefully around the Jones family. "I shall certainly visit you with a generous gift, accompanied by my somewhat foolish daughter, whom I will send to formally apologize at a later date." "You're far too kind, Carl," Michael replied with a smile. Meanwhile, as Michael conversed with Carl, and as Olivia beamed at Monica and Rachel once more, her smile, radiant and unaffected, betrayed no trace of fear. A young man leaned against a table in the corner, observing the whole scene. He toyed with his wineglass. He narrowed his eyes attentively, followed Olivia's every move. Having witnessed numerous schemes in wealthy families, he found Miss Johnson's behavior quite intriguing. Ever since the incident where she poured wine on Max Zetfield, he had been observant of her. This young woman held a certain fascination for him, but his focus was pulled when at that very moment a maid rushed over in a fluster, addressing the young man. "Sir, little Robbie is missing again." "Imbecile," the young man snapped, tearing his gaze away from Olivia to scold the maid. "Hurry and find him, can't you handle a mere child?" "Yes, I'll go find him." The maid nodded and hurried off to locate Robbie. Why does Robbie have to be so mischievous? The young man thought. Frowning, he reluctantly stood up and then swiftly departed in the opposite direction to search for his brother. Meanwhile, Olivia felt as though someone's gaze was fixed upon her, but when she turned to look, The source of the gaze had already vanished. She simply shrugged her shoulders. Addressing Michael, "Dad, is it okay if I get some fresh air? All these eyes on me are making me uncomfortable." "Of course, just be cautious," Michael replied, still harboring some lingering anxiety, but he nodded nonetheless. "Understood." Olivia smiled and nodded. She released her grip on Michael's arm, turned around, and proceeded towards one of the exits. In her recollection in her past life, a child had drowned in the pool of the small courtyard leading from this path. Monica and Melanie had even pushed her into the pool to frighten her, claiming that she would be abducted by the water ghost. It had terrified her to the point of trembling. Whenever she attempted to climb out of the pool, Amy Leadham and Melanie would take turns using their shoes to step on her fingers, pinned to the pool's edge. And when she sought respite in the shallow waters, they would smile while striking her head with various objects. The moment she exposed her head above the water, she would be met with blows. They were so vicious, she recalled now. This is why I can't let up, or go easy on them. Even if they seem weaker than me now, I know that the second I ever show them grace or weakness, they will only pounce again. They can't help it. It's their nature. Despite Melanie fainting and being taken away by the ambulance today, the banquet carried on as planned. Everyone treated the incident as a minor interruption during the gathering. They engaged in lively conversation, even resurrecting discussions about the Cooper family scandal. And as the drinks flowed, people seemed to be in higher spirits than before. Rachel pulled Monica aside and inquired about the details of what had happened, only to discover that it was indeed Monica who had intended to humiliate Olivia. However, Monica had chosen the wrong ally and almost became a pawn for Beatrix. "Beatrix is more cunning than I realized. I had truly underestimated her," Rachel asserted after her daughter told her everything that had happened. "That wretched niece of mine seems to be seeking her own demise. Mommy, such a good chance to hurt Olivia went to waste." Melanie pouted. "All because of Beatrix. Olivia was too lucky this time." "Lucky, huh?" Rachel coldly snorted. "If you wished to orchestrate such a plan, why didn't you come and discuss it with me?" I was afraid you'd make me wait." Monica pursed her lips, feeling wronged. "I truly detest Olivia. How could she—" "Shh." Rachel hushed Monica, noticing her growing agitation, and swiftly silenced her with a gesture. "Next time you always come to me first. See what happens when you don't?" Monica nodded and went quiet, then turned her gaze toward Rachel, silently seeking guidance on their next course of action. Rachel responded with an eye roll and said to Monica, "You should remain here perfectly composed. After this incident, the Cooper family has suffered a total humiliation. My brothers are going to be pissed." She lamented that no one would be willing to work with the Cooper family for some time, as this event had been bad for their brand. And the Johnson family would certainly withhold helping them, now that it had been revealed that Melanie had tried to humiliate the Johnson sisters. "This wretched Beatrix," Rachel cursed, feeling the frustration of their predicament. "Mommy, what do we do now?" Monica asked anxiously. "It appears that the only way to safeguard ourselves and avoid entanglement is to sever all ties with the Cooper family completely," Rachel reluctantly informed her daughter, realizing this was their last resort. "Olivia can't keep winning like this," she exclaimed indignantly. Monica covertly glanced in the direction of Olivia, who was heading towards an empty hallway at the back of the banquet hall. Quickly devising a plan, she proposed, "Mommy, I'm going to go and have a conversation with Amy for a minute. I can't allow her to develop any animosity towards me, okay?" "Very well, go quickly," Rachel sighed, granting her daughter permission. "And don't get into any trouble." After Monica departed, Rachel's phone began to ring. Glancing at the caller ID, she noticed Bruno across the room, also on his phone. Their eyes met briefly before Rachel answered the call, inquiring, "Why are you calling me?" "So nobody realizes we're talking to each other." Bruno's low voice emanated from the other end. "We're good to go with the plan," he said cryptically. "Can we trust who we're working with?" Rachel asked. After earlier events this evening, Rachel couldn't help but harbor some suspicions. It was only natural to be cautious, given what Beatrix had done to Monica. Family ties could be treacherous, and Rachel had to exercise vigilance.
"Fear not,"
Bruno assured her.
"The man I've hired is very discreet, and he is also going to be solving an issue in the Shook family as well. All he needed was some money, which I transferred to him via a virtual account. Nobody will be able to trace us." "Very well, let's proceed with the plan then."
Rachel nodded. "No." Bruno's expression turned somewhat cold. "We need to modify the plan."
"What do you mean?"
Rachel's tone unintentionally rose. She suddenly realized she was losing control of her emotions and took a deep breath to compose herself. Lowering her voice, she continued,
"Didn't we agree on the plan before? It's entirely feasible. Why should we change it now?"
"Because Olivia has had everyone's eyes on her all night. What if the timing is off?" Bruno furrowed his brows. "Well, I know the Shook family wishes to eliminate their nuance directly, so my guy will be here regardless. So just let me know if you'd like him to take care of Olivia too while he's here." "In that case, let's eliminate her." Rachel nodded, finding Olivia an absolute annoyance. The day had been overwhelming, and she felt terribly fatigued. Her temples throbbed, leaving her too drained to dwell on the matter further. Just get rid of her.
"Very well then."
Bruno was secretly hoping Rachel would suggest a delay in the plan, but she didn't. He ended the call, sighing slightly, and then used another phone to write a message. Good to go. Then he looked around and sent the text. At that moment, Olivia was walking into another courtyard when she noticed a shadow trailing her from not far away. Her steps faltered, and she grew vigilant. Swiftly turning around, she caught sight of Monica. "Monica, why are you following me?" she asked, somewhat surprised. "Who said I was following you? This path is open to anyone, no? I can walk wherever I please. You don't need to concern yourself," Monica retorted, rolling her eyes at Olivia. "In that case, I can leave." Olivia stood her ground, observing Monica with interest. "That's right." Monica coldly snorted, taking a few steps before pausing. "Why did you sneakily come over here? To a part of the Leadham house that's quiet where nobody is? I suspect you're up to no good." "Ha ha." Olivia chuckled twice, her amusement evident. Monica, you truly lack sense." "What did you say?" Monica's brows furrowed. "How dare you insult me like that?" "If you had any intelligence, would you be so easily manipulated by the Cooper sisters?" Olivia taunted. "Yet here you are now, daring to follow me alone. Are you not afraid that I might kill you and dispose of your body?" "What do you mean?" Monica took a step back, feeling suddenly uneasy. When she followed Olivia in here, she hadn't really thought about what Liv could do to her if they were all alone. "You always harbor ill intentions towards me, so why not settle everything once and for all?" Olivia twisted her wrist, her expression a warning. "You don't dare." Monica took a few steps back, asserting, "If you kill me, they'll make you pay with your life." "Do you even understand the meaning of paying with your life? It involves reciprocation, compensation, and resolution. This is what pay entails." Olivia scoffed and took a few steps closer. "People won't know it was me, so they won't even ask me to pay. They'll think some stranger hurt you, or it was an accident. This is the Leadham residence. Strangers can't just waltz in here. Don't try to frighten me." Monica mustered her courage and retorted, "Ha ha, it's all thanks to you. Had you not shown everyone earlier that a stranger can in fact come in here, I would have lacked the perfect excuse." Olivia coldly snorted. "When the time comes, I'll just claim you let someone else in too, and they ended up hurting you. Doesn't that sound perfect?" "You don't dare!" Despite her bravado, Monica suddenly turned and fled. "Brainless fool." Olivia laughed disdainfully as a tingling rose up within her from her core. She was about to use her powers to lift Monica up and then drop her on her neck, snapping her in two, when a faint sound reached her ears. Looking in the direction of the noise, Olivia spotted a muscular man gripping a young boy, leading him toward the pool. You Let go of me, you scoundrel! Do you know who I am?" The young boy struggled in the man's grasp, swinging his little fist to retaliate. Recognizing the voice, Olivia immediately surmised the child's identity. Wasn't he the brat who bumped into her at the banquet and called her an old hag? Robbie? "Shut up," the man snorted and pushed the little boy into the pool. The boy floundered in the water, desperately struggling, but inadvertently swallowing large gulps of water. "Help!" he pleaded. "Please help!" Sensing it was the opportune moment, the man hoisted the boy out of the water and demanded, "Tell me where it is." "I don't know!" The boy, drenched and weary, could hardly move his limbs, but continued to weakly curse. "I won't tell you, you brute!" "You're quite obstinate," the man snarled, pushing the boy back into the water. The sound of water being consumed echoed once more. The man retrieved the boy again, questioning him. "Will you tell me or not?" In the winter cold, the child, so young and shivering, began turning blue around his lips. Despite coughing up water and gasping for breath, he defiantly retorted, "Just you wait, my brother won't let you get away with this, if you have the courage, then kill me." The large, brawny man's patience waned. A flash of killing intent crossed his eyes as he was about to hurl the boy back into the pool. Once he dealt with this little brat, he planned to kill Olivia next. Olivia read the man's mind, though, and could see that Rachel was behind this, and possibly Bruno, too. Olivia, observing from her hiding spot, was astonished. Was he really coming for her? That can wait, she thought. At the moment, she was too anxious witnessing the little child's plight. He was on the brink of death, and tossing him into the pool would only seal his fate. Despite the boy's arrogance, he was still a human, and a very young one at that. Olivia couldn't deny the compassion that swelled within her. Biting her lower lip, Olivia's mind raced to find a solution for how she could possibly save the little boy. Suddenly, a hand clapped on her shoulder, startling her. "Olivia, I'm talking to you." Monica glared angrily at Olivia, not noticing the large man and the boy over by the pool. She was too angry to focus on anything other than herself, and she had complete tunnel vision. The brawny man was instantly startled by Monica's remark and turned his gaze in the direction of her voice. Olivia, he thought. It seemed they had coincidentally crossed paths. After tossing the boy he held into the pool, the strong man strode over toward Olivia's location. Sensing an opportunity, Olivia swiftly hatched a plan. She hushed Monica, signaling her to be cautious of the man with ill intentions approaching. Observing the large man approaching with an ominous glint in his eye, Monica felt a sense of trepidation. "Monica, run!" Olivia whispered. Acting on Olivia's instruction, Monica turned to flee, sprinting with all her might, faster than she had ever been before in her life. As she did, Olivia called out afterward, "Run, Olivia!" As if Monica's name was your own! She wanted to confuse the man. Afterward, Olivia then dashed in the opposite direction. The brawny man glimpsed Olivia running away but didn't pay it much heed. He had concealed his fate with a fake mask, ensuring no one could identify him. He pursued Monica, thinking she was Olivia, with determined strides. He couldn't let his target escape, observing the brawny man heading towards Monica. Olivia swiftly turned and leapt into the pool. The cold water pierced her skin, causing discomfort. The chlorine stung her eyes, but she fought through the pain to locate the little boy who had sunk to the bottom. With considerable effort, she retrieved him from the water and carried him to the pool's edge. Finding her high heels cumbersome, Olivia discarded them before climbing up the pool wall barefoot. Despite wearing just a gown on a wintry day, she had little choice but to plunge into the icy pool to save the child. The bone-chilling water numbed her limbs. Quickly rubbing her hands to regain some sensation, Olivia proceeded to perform CPR, a skill she had learned in a university elective course in her previous life. Though somewhat rusty, her efforts managed to help the little boy expel the water from his lungs. Relieved to see the water being spat out, Olivia wasted no time and carried the child on her back, rushing down another hallway that led to the banquet hall. The child's body was cold, and she knew he needed immediate medical attention. Meanwhile, Monica ran with all her might, discarding her shoes in the process. Her short heels had broken due to the relentless pace, causing her ankle to twist. However, She dared not stop or glance back. In her haste, Monica let out a cry of pain as she felt a powerful force tugging at her scalp, dragging her to the ground. The brawny man seized a firm hold of Monica's hair. "Running away? Do you still dare to run? Let go! Let go, please!" Monica struggled, crying for help. Muffling her mouth with his hand, the brawny man gripped her neck tightly. "Olivia, don't worry. I'll ensure your corpse remains intact." He planned to toss her into the pool and make it look like she accidentally drowned while trying to save the little boy. This man was, after all, professional, so he knew how to make things look accidental. At the mention of Olivia's name, Monica was taken aback and frantically shook her head. She was not Olivia. This had to be a mistake. In her frenzy, Monica almost scratched the brawny man's eyes. Annoyed, he slapped her hard, leaving her disoriented and seeing stars. Seeing Monica in a daze, the brawny man dragged her towards the pool. Her delicate skin suffered bruises and abrasions from the impact with the ground, and her evening gown was torn. At that moment, a commanding voice rang out, startling the brawny man and making him freeze in his tracks. "Sir, have you found Robbie?" Shit. As multiple footsteps approached, the brawny man had no choice but to swiftly discard his captive and hastily flee from the scene. He had already accomplished one killing today by tossing Robbie into the pool and watching as the little boy sunk to the bottom. Dealing with Olivia could wait for another day. He flung Monica to the ground, her head hitting the hard surface with such force it caused her to lose consciousness. "Oh my God, there's someone in here!" A maid spotted Monica lying unconscious on the ground with her clothes torn, and she called out urgently, "Sir, come quick!" Damn it. Robbie's older brother approached, furrowing his brows as he observed Monica. His little brother had yet to be found, and now this unexpected trouble emerged. "Carry her back to the banquet and seek assistance. I'll keep searching for Robbie." "Yes, sir," the maid replied, shouldering Monica. "This is scary," Robbie's brother muttered as he resumed his quest for Robbie. Why did misfortune befall him right after arriving in New York City? He might as well have stayed in London. He had no clue where Robbie could be. Soon after he left the pool area, his phone rang. "Hello? What's going on?" "Sir," his maid said, "we found Robbie. He's in a dire state. We've already called an ambulance." Just as his maid carried Monica back to the banquet area, Olivia also returned, drenched and carrying the unconscious little boy on her back. Instantly, the previously joyful banquet turned into chaos. Olivia, soaked to the bone, had rescued an unfamiliar child, a heroic feat in its own right. And seconds later, Monica appeared dirty and barefoot, her face swollen from a beating, with obvious signs of a struggle on her body. Everyone speculated silently, but dared not voice their thoughts. They could only surmise that the Johnson family was embroiled in numerous troubles. "Monica?" Rachel's heart ached upon seeing Monica's distressed appearance. What had happened to her precious daughter? Michael also wore a worried expression. What had befallen both of his daughters? I don't know what to say. Carl, the host of the banquet, had the most uncomfortable expression in the room. It was his birthday celebration after all. What had gone so wrong? As the ambulance arrived, the brother of the little boy rushed to the scene. The Johnson family and Robbie's family were hurriedly taken to the hospital in New York City. Upon reaching the hospital, Robbie received immediate emergency treatment, and Monica gradually regained consciousness. Spotting Rachel, she clung to her mother's neck and burst into tears, as if she'd been terrified beyond measure. Meanwhile, Olivia, donning Bruno's suit jacket, shivered from the cold. Leaning against the wall, she clutched a cup of hot water, gazing coldly at Monica without a hint of pity in her eyes. So, this was the destruction Rachel had intended for me, Olivia thought to herself. Rachel probably could not have foreseen that it would be Monica who reaped the consequences. Monica cried for a while until she finally managed to calm down. Mommy. Her eyes were red and teary. It hurts so much. It's okay, sweetie. It's okay. Mommy knows. Rachel gently brushed away the disheveled hair on Monica's face, scrutinizing her injuries. The left side of her face was swollen, and there was a scratch near her right eye. With her red and swollen eyes, she looked like a wounded rabbit, tugging at Rachel's heartstrings. Mommy, I thought I was going to die, Monica sobbed, gazing at Rachel. She genuinely believed she was about to lose her life. But what made Rachel feel aggrieved was that her own daughter would have died instead of Olivia. That wretched killer had mistaken Monica for Olivia. She was nothing like Olivia. She was Monica. You don't have to be afraid anymore. Rachel embraced Monica, trying to comfort her distressed daughter. Monica, did you see who it was? Michael inquired, unaware that Rachel had hired the man who assaulted Monica. It was a man. He was very tall and strong. Monica couldn't recall the man's face. The fear had clouded her memory. Honey, Rachel turned to Michael. I don't think she can handle questions right now. Take Olivia to the doctor downstairs to see if she needs an intravenous drip or something. Okay. Michael nodded and led Olivia out of Monica's hospital room. After Michael and Olivia quit, Rachel nervously questioned Monica. Monica, do you remember anything about the man? Rachel's anxiety was palpable. No, Monica replied, her cheeks reddening even more. Really? Rachel asked, somewhat uncertain. Really? Monica nodded, looking at Rachel with annoyance. But that person wanted to kill me. Hearing Monica's response, Rachel heaved a sigh of relief because she didn't want her daughter to be able to describe the assailant, nor did she want her daughter to know she had hired someone. She wasn't sure if Monica could handle knowing her mom had hired the man who accidentally hurt her instead of Olivia. So Rachel played dumb and asked, Monica, did you offend someone? Why would someone want to kill you? No! Monica thought about it and grew indignant. There's been a mistake, a huge mistake. The man thought I was Olivia. What? Rachel was taken aback, her thoughts turning to her and Bruno's scheme. He wanted to kill Olivia? Yes! Monica clenched her fists, the anger evident. I'm so furious. It suddenly dawned on me. When I saw Olivia sneaking off to a secluded spot, I followed her. But then she scared me halfway, claiming she wanted to kill me. So I ran away. But as I ran, I felt something was amiss. I sensed that she was deceiving me. Monica took a deep breath. Finally, I saw her looking over at something. When I called out to her, she suddenly yelled for me to run. I panicked and started running. And then? Rachel inquired further. Then my heel broke and I sprained my ankle, and a man caught up to me. Monica's face twisted in anger. At that moment, I was so frightened that my mind went blank, but now I remember. When Olivia shouted for me to run, she called out, Olivia, run quickly! It didn't make sense at the time, but that wretched bitch did that on purpose. You mean she called you, Olivia? Rachel's heart skipped a beat. Could it be that Olivia knew about their plan? Yes! Monica clenched her teeth in hatred. She's truly despicable. She deliberately used me as bait. Mommy, tell me, why is she so wicked? Why is she so vile? Rachel's eyes also flickered with hatred. Olivia must have been aware of Rachel and Bruno's plan, and deliberately used Monica as a shield to save herself. If she knew about it, why didn't she simply avoid it, though? Why did she want to harm her own sister? Mommy, Monica's voice trembled. It really hurts. Be good. Rachel consoled her, relieved that Monica didn't suffer any serious injuries, only superficial ones. She comforted her daughter while contemplating their next steps. Meanwhile, Olivia had seen a doctor for her own injury, which she got while swimming to save young Robbie, and was currently on a saline drip. As the saline drip was being administered, a well-dressed young man approached Olivia and greeted her. Hello. Olivia recognized him as the little boy's older brother. She nodded and replied, Hello. I'm Steve Shook. Thank you for saving my brother. The young man said, expressing his gratitude. You're welcome. Olivia nodded. When my brother gets better in a few days, I will bring him to visit and express our gratitude himself, too, Steve said before standing and greeting Michael. Mr. Johnson, long time no see. You are... Michael scrutinized Steve's features and remembered. You are Chandler Shook's son, right? Yes, Steve smiled. Your father and I were good friends in college, so it's my duty to take care of her. Michael smiled and waved his hand. Liv saved your brother. It was fate. Your father saved my life in college. I've also heard about this from my father. Steve smiled and chatted with Michael for a while before thanking the Johnsons again and returning to his brother's hospital room. Wait, Dad, how do you know that guy? Olivia asked curiously. I don't know him personally, but I know his parents very well. Michael explained. His family's in the food and beverage business, specializing in desserts. Shook's company headquarters in London. His mother is a musician, and his sisters seem to be a famous singer over there. Back in college, his parents were in the same university as me, in the same class. They had a good relationship. Oh. Olivia nodded thoughtfully. She had never encountered this person in her previous life, but in this life, she felt like he was a new chess piece that had been flung from a great height, causing chaos in the game with his unexpected arrival. What will happen next? She thought. It was likely all a matter of fate. Even she herself couldn't fathom the intentions of this unseen new player known as Steve Shook. After a few hours of observation, Rachel decided to stay at the hospital to take care of Monica, while Michael escorted Olivia back to the Johnson mansion. She wondered where Bruno was because nobody had seen him after the first hour at the hospital. Carl Edom, whose birthday feast was supposed to be a joyous occasion, found himself facing numerous troubles. First, the Cooper family had caused trouble and attempted to humiliate the Johnson family. Then, a young noble guest named Robbie Shook had fallen into the pool and had to be saved. And finally, Monica Johnson was nearly killed. After the ambulance had left the Leadham residence, the atmosphere at the banquet turned sour, and the guests had no choice but to leave. In the living room of the Leadham residence, Carl sat with a dark expression on his face. Amy knew that she was the cause of the chaos and dared not utter a word. She kept her head lowered, remaining silent. Amy, look at the foolish things you've done, making your father furious, scolded her mother Angie. Move aside. Carl interrupted Angie. He stood up abruptly. Today, my reputation has been completely tarnished by you. Dad, it's not entirely my fault, Amy argued softly. How dare you say that? Carl yelled. Carl? Angie quickly stepped in to stop Carl. Amy was deceived by someone. That Melanie from the Cooper family is cunning and sly. Amy thought she was doing her friend a simple favor by letting another friend into the party. She didn't realize she was an accomplice in an awful little plan. A moment of confusion? Carl waved his hand dismissively. Do you have any idea how difficult it is to do business now? Every day you indulge in extravagant items like Hermes bags, gold watches, and Prada dresses. Do you even know how hard it is to earn money nowadays? He struggled to come up with ways to secure greater profits and stability for the Leadham family. Yet his family members only knew how to squander without understanding the effort he put in. Amy shivered under Carl's scolding eyes and felt somewhat indignant. Weren't most wealthy young ladies like this? She spent money lavishly, so what? Honey, don't be angry. Angie softly tried to persuade him. After next week, everyone will forget about this. As soon as something new happens that gets them all talking. Besides, our family isn't the biggest victim in this incident. People tend to remember the most unfortunate person. This time, the Cooper family came out looking way worse. The Cooper family has been completely ruined. Carl narrowed his eyes slightly and shook his head. They've shown themselves to be a scandalous pack of rapscallions. The Leadham family will no longer have any dealings with the Cooper family in the future. Carl looked at Amy sternly. I'm warning you. If you dare to contact Melanie again, I will ground you until you go to college and never let you leave the house. Amy trembled, feeling wronged. I won't. Carl let out a cold snort, and his anger somewhat subsided. And that Johnson family, Angie continued, I find it strange. The Cooper family has always been attached to the Johnson family, and anyone with discerning eyes could see it. Why did Melanie seek to hurt them so much? Actually, Amy hesitated, then bit her lower lip and said, The mastermind behind today was Monica. What did you say? Carl and his wife were shocked, their eyes fixed on Amy. Melanie arrived first today and she didn't mention anything about a scheme. It was Monica who arrived and started asking me to help let people into the party and dropping hints about some plan she had. At the time, Melanie only seemed excited to play along. She wasn't the mastermind, though. She didn't even know what the plan was, and neither did I. Carl's expression changed. If this was true, then the Johnson family was indeed in turmoil. It was only once Olivia turned things back around on Monica and said it was Monica who tried to humiliate her, that Monica even pointed the finger at Melanie instead. Amy said with exasperation. If this happened to you, you might have done the same. Carl said coldly. I think Olivia is rather smart. Under such circumstances, she managed to effortlessly protect the Johnson family name. One should know that if news of the troubles faced by the Johnson family sisters at another person's banquet spread, it would bring a lot of disaster. That Olivia doesn't seem like an honest person, Angie remarked. I don't think we should mention this matter to anyone. Carl analyzed the situation and gave the order. About Monica. Speaking of Monica, what exactly happened to her? Angie recalled something and said, an assailant attacked her? The incident occurred in our house. Carl nodded. If something really happened, our family cannot afford to delay handling it. I understand, Angie agreed. What I mean is, could Monica's situation have been orchestrated by Olivia? If that were true, it would be truly terrifying. No. Carl shook his head. Olivia had been rescuing Robbie Shook in the pool. Do you think that was just an act? Amy speculated. Jumping into the pool in winter to put on a show? Carl rolled his eyes at Amy. Did this daughter of his lack a brain? Moreover, the child Olivia saved wouldn't be playing along with her. Given the child's wealth, he wouldn't bother with such troublesome things. I highly doubt it, Carl said. I don't think Olivia is a good person. Amy rolled her eyes. This matter ends here. No one is allowed to mention it again. Carl frowned and gave the order. Fine, Amy nodded. Carl slightly narrowed his eyes. Though the surface of New York City appeared peaceful, a storm was brewing. The Leadham family needed to be cautious in its dealings. However, the Cooper family, they had probably exhausted their lifelines and goodwill in the city. People seemed ready to turn their backs on the Cooper clan altogether. In the Cooper residence, Melanie sat in bed as she cried to her sister Beatrix. Sissy, I'm scared. It's okay. Beatrix sighed at Melanie's appearance. I have already told you that no one in the Johnson family is a good person. You shouldn't expect Monica to be any different. Sister, why did she betray me? Melanie's voice was hoarse, filled with pain from the feeling of being betrayed. Don't worry, it's all in the past. Take it easy and don't let it get to you. Beatrix tried to console the heartbroken Melanie, but she herself was feeling overwhelmed by the unexpected turn of events. It wasn't easy for her to calm Melanie down and put her to sleep. With a heavy heart, Beatrix left Melanie's room. Clenching her fists, Beatrix's voice turned gloomy. Olivia, I will get you, she whispered.